The following is brought to you by the Social Suplex Podcast Network.
Hello, this is Zack Sabre Jr., New Japan Cup winner 2018. And you're listening to Keepin It Strong Style with my mates. Enjoy.
Yo, this is Rich Latta from One Nation Radio. This is brought to you by the Social Suplex Podcast Network. We present to you the Ace of Podcasts, Keepin It Strong Style. Let's go. It's the Ace of Podcasts, Keepin It Strong Style. Covering New Japan, they ready to hold it down. Jeremy Donovan and the young boy Josh. Come and hit a job out and bury all the frauds. From the Tokyo Dome over to the G1. Social Suplex is the network where we can get it done. I'ma chill and let them have it, cause this is just an intro. Keeping the strong style, 6 stars from the get-go, boy. Yeah, from Tampa Bay to the Tokyo Dome, this is Keeping It Strong Style with your hosts, Jeremy Donovan and the young boy Joshua Smith. And thank you for listening.
Welcome to Keeping It Strong Style, the ace of podcasts on the Social Suplex Podcast Network. Jeremy Donovan here alongside the young boy Josh Smith. On today's show, we'll be discussing the Road to Destruction shows, as well as covering all the latest news in the world of New Japan Pro Wrestling. You can support our show by subscribing to the Social Suplex Podcast Network on the podcast app of your choice and leaving a rating and review. You can also get all the podcasts and columns at socialsuplex.com. Go to socialsuplex.com/subscribe to sign up to get the podcast and columns delivered directly to your email inbox. Also, make sure to check out our friends at purerezuroad.com for all your great Pure Rezu content. All right, young boy. Before we jump into the Road to Destruction shows, we got some housekeeping business we got to do. We need to name the August Wrestler of the Month and the August Match of the Month.
But I want to jump into those Road to shows so badly.
so badly.
Like, I can't contain myself. These shows were just, off the charts.
Amazing, right? Some Show of the Year candidates.
Absolutely.
Better than All In.
Better than All In, Mr. ACP. Oh, my God. It's all love. It's all love. Actually, you know, we got to have Mr. ACP on the show one of these days.
Yeah, we do. I feel like that would be an interesting episode.
I feel like it would be a fantastic episode.
Yeah.
And I'm not being facetious.
Neither am I. I'm dead serious.
You're not being serious.
No, I am.
You're a heel, I can tell you. I can see that look in your eyes. You're trying to bury this man. I'm trying to raise him up.
No, man. Trying to give him the shine, the rub.
Trying to give him the rub?
Trying to put him over.
Oh, man. I can't wait. I can't wait. Actually, like, thinking about, like, bringing someone on the show makes me, like, want to cut, like a heel promo on them and be like, Mr. ACP! Oh my God. But yeah, so let's get into this. So we did not name last week. Man, last week was like, we were jet lagged.
Dude, we were in like all in hangover.
Oh my God. We didn't even do the news last week. Like, it kind of carried over to this week. It's been an experience. But we are back and we're here. And yeah, we didn't name the Wrestler of the Month or the Match of the Month.
Yeah.
What were we thinking?
Thinking about All In.
August was a whirlwind though.
Yeah, it was.
Like, it was like, you know, G1 came and then it was over, and I didn't even think about those things until like today. I was like, oh my God, we didn't even name it. What are we doing?
Yeah.
So, but I don't think it was that difficult to come up with the answers when everything was said and done, really.
Yeah, it's pretty easy. Let's start with a Match of the Month.
This was open and shut for me, anyways. It absolutely had to be Tanahashi and Ibushi from the G1 finals. So many great matches. So many great matches. And I mean, we could obviously sit here and talk about all the great matches that happened in August, but I think we did. If you want to go back and, you know, discuss that, you should probably go back and listen to our review of the G1 when we gave our top 10 matches of the month. A lot of them happened in August. So, I mean, that'd be a little redundant at this point, but absolutely, for me, the match of the month had to be Ibushi and Tanahashi.
Yeah, hands down for me also, Match of the Month. I mean, dude, that match was just so epic.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
It's incredible. And then this is where things got a little more dicey, was Wrestler of the Month. Now, I know that we named our MVP of the tournament Ibushi, but really what it comes down to, match of the month is just for August. We're not taking into account anything prior or before.
Right.
So with that being said, I mean, it was pretty tough taking a look at the candidates. I mean, Tanahashi and Okada had some of their, like, pretty much their best performances of the tournament during that
Omega, Ishii.
Omega and Ishii, but and Naito, Zack Sabre, I mean, these guys were all on. Even Sonata, man, like a lot of these guys were on fire during the last few weeks, and we're talking about night 12 to night 19. So I mean, you had a lot of good stuff in there, but when it was all said and done, it could only be one
Golden Star. Kota Ibushi.
Yeah, so Kota Ibushi not only taking Match of the Month honors, but Wrestler of the Month honors. So congratulations to Kota.
Shout out Ibushi, man.
You didn't win the tournament, but you won this award.
You won the illustrious Keeping It Strong Style Wrestler of the Month award and Match of the Month award.
This is gonna go down. This is gonna, like, I'm gonna update his
Wikipedia.
He needs to know.
Yes, he does.
The world needs to know.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Should we start doing that? Should we start, like, updating everyone's Wikipedias?
Well, when they win our awards, yes.
Do you think anyone would even notice?
I doubt it.
Have you ever done that? Like,
Edit up? No.
I'm gonna leave it up to you. You're the techno whiz.
Yeah, I'll do it for sure.
Don't do it. I was just joking. That is not a good idea. Does not scream like, good journalism. That's some gimmickry.
That's some finessing.
That's some finessing. That's some smoke and mirrors. We're not about that. We're about the quality in-ring product, Jeremy. Oh my God.
All
so
right.
you want to get into these shows?
Yeah, man, these Road to Destruction shows, man. So the first one was September 7th.
What were your, like, what was your reaction to, like, for the first time in what seems like months, going back to all Japanese commentary and their Road to shows in Korakuen?
Honestly, I kind of forgot how much I like Japanese commentary. I mean, those guys get so into it every match. And
what do you mean by those guys? Oh my God.
Well, I never know who, like, what, because they have, like, multiple sets of Japanese commentators.
Right.
So I never know who's on our feed. Like, I have no idea of, like, Milano Collection AT and...
No, I think he's on the Samurai team.
Gotcha.
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, so I never know. So it's like... whatever teams on New Japan World feed, like, those guys are awesome.
I think we know what you mean when you say those guys, Jeremy. Okay?
Oh, man.
Oh, my God. I'm gonna have to get a new co-host.
People are gonna boycott our show. They're gonna burn our merch.
And rightly so. I'm gonna join them.
No, but yeah, I mean,
name.
Japanese commentary was great.
I'm glad you changed. You didn't call them those guys.
Korakuen Hall was great. So
Korakuen Hall sold out.
I was excited, man, that New Japan was back. It's been 3 or so weeks since we've had a New Japan branded show watch and review.
We had Kevin Kelly goodness for so long. I mean, it really has been a while. I mean,
I know. I was kind of, I clicked on it and I was like, I didn't even, like, pay attention that there was, like, no two options. Like, I clicked on it and, like, Japanese commentary started. I was like, wait, didn't I click on English? And there is no English.
Japanese commentary does not bother me one bit.
It doesn't bother me at all either.
But with that being said, it is like getting reacclimated to something that I watch all the time, but it's been a while, man.
Right.
Like, and not only that, but, like, the G1 shows have a big feel. Like, these are Road to shows. We haven't had Road to shows since Dantaku?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
I mean, it's been a while. If maybe that's not...
Were there Road to shows for Dominion? No?
Yeah, I think there was.
Yeah.
But I mean, maybe not. I don't know. It's been a while, It's been a while. So we're here now, and let's get into these.
So yeah, September 7th show kicked off with Bullet Club team of Chase Owens and Yujiro Takahashi against the Young Boy team of Ren Narita and Shota Umino.
Nothing too much to really discuss here. I mean, anytime Narita and Umino are out there, it's impressive. Obviously, I'm a Chase mark. Obviously, Jeremy's a Yujiro mark. He loves Yujiro.
Not sure if I love him or just the people who comes out with him.
Oh, what do you mean by those people?
Is that gonna be the running gimmick for this show?
Yeah. Oh my God.
But yeah, I mean, it was a good opener, good pace.
Narita and Umino are like, you know, the tail end of that class. Obviously, like, you know, Oka is gone.
Yeah, the Great Okarn.
Yep, the Great Okarn, and then what's his face over in CMLL?
Yeah.
We forgot it. We forgot, like,
It's been a while.
oh my gosh.
Can't believe I forgot. Wow, this is really bad.
Yeah, what's wrong with us?
Dude, like one of the best young boys that was in New Japan for a while.
What's wrong with us?
Man.
I'm going to find it out.
Okay. But yeah, he's over in CMLL. We talked about him. He has a new haircut.
Kawato.
Yes,
Oh my God.
Kawato, wow.
Kawato-san. So
Yes, Kawato.
What are we doing?
I don't know, man.
Oh my
Sleeping
God.
out here.
This is why the numbers are down. This is why we're losing sponsors. I'm surprised like Puroresu Road doesn't just take us right off their network. My God.
Yeah.
Jeremy's saying racist stuff. And
Yeah. Blue Chew called and, you know, they just pulled out the deal.
Hey, how about, guys, how about this? How about I did not know what Blue Chew was. Like literally like the other week, like Jeremy had to tell me what it was. I literally thought that it was chewing tobacco. I mean, I don't know. I don't listen to all the other shows that have that gimmick. Like when Jeremy's talking about like Blue Chew, I just thought it was literally like Skull or something, you know? And I was like, oh, that's pretty funny. And then Jeremy's like, nah, dude, it's basically Viagra. I was like, what?
Yeah, it's like every wrestling podcast. Like they had a booth at StarCast.
We weren't at StarCast.
I know, but it was out there, man.
Yeah, but I don't listen to all those jabronis. Like I listen to Dave and I listen to us, and then that's pretty much it. You know? Oh my God.
But yeah.
Anyway, so Narita and Umino are kind of like the last two that are like left over. Obviously, Yagi's injured. We don't know what happened to Kitamura. Like these are kind of like the last two remaining like gunslingers of that class of young boys, and they're just getting better and better by every time I see them out there. You know. So with that being said, obviously Chase Owens hits the package pile driver. 8 minutes, good little opener. Everybody got their stuff in. That brings us to the next match, which was a 8-man tag, Bullet Club, taking on Juice Robinson, Michael Elgin, Dave Finlay, and Ayato Yoshida. Jeremy, what are your thoughts on Yoshida? Okay.
So yeah, I mean, it's not the first time we've seen him. We've seen a couple of times now on some of these shows and like the Lionsgate shows. I think he's a pretty solid guy. I mean, I'd like to see him more one-on-one, what he could do. But from what we've seen so far, I think he's a good hand. I think he'll be an interesting addition to the roster.
Sometimes I'm just wondering, like, it's not that New Japan hasn't ever brought anybody in from outside. Obviously, there's lots of people on the roster who've been brought in from the outside. Right. But it's not too often when they bring in a really young guy who's comparable in experience and, like ring time to, like, say, Young Lions, which I think Yoshida's got a few years on them, but as far as like his stance in the company,
he's right down there with them.
Yeah, and in some cases, like, he's almost presented as lower than them. I think it creates a really interesting like situation. Like, do we view him as like on the same level as like a Hanare, or do we view him on the same level as like a Umino?
Because Umino beat him at that Lionsgate show, right?
He did, yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, that's pretty big for losing to a young boy. So he's kind of pretty much on that level, I would assume.
But then they've got him in matches like this where it's like him, Elgin, Finlay, and Juice, and you kind of wonder, like, what is his stature in the company at this point? Like, where does he fit in the pecking order of things, Now, this is something that I thought was pretty funny. How about fans online who are upset about them, quote-unquote, poaching Ayato Yoshida?
Really? I haven't seen any of that.
Yeah, I saw some of that online, and I just thought, like, I was like, really? Like, there are people who literally don't maybe understand like how Japanese pro wrestling works,
right?
So they're assuming like them bringing in Yoshida's like them bringing in Ishimori last year, or bringing in
but it's like
Sonata, but it's not the same thing.
He's from K Dojo, which is run by Takamichi Nohu.
It's a feeder system.
Who's a part of Suzuki Gun. So
No, literally, it's a feeder system.
Right.
I mean, they run tiny shows a few times a year. You know, they do like 200 people, something like that. They're not making a run at like actually being anything.
Right.
They're not trying to get a TV deal. They're actually trying to progress their guys so that they can go to companies like New Japan.
Right.
And like, you know.
to me that sounds like if
Ignorance?
Yeah, but I was gonna say, like, if a WWE fan was like, man, they're poaching all these girls from the Dudley Boy promotion for Mae Young Classic.
They're stealing all these guys from Evolve.
Yeah, they're stealing these guys from Booker T's Reality of Wrestling.
Like, what are you talking about? Like, that's the point of those promotions. That's what they're there to do. So, from that stance, I did see some people talking about that, and I thought it was pretty comical. You know, just...
I'm glad I didn't see any of that crap.
Yeah. But with that being said, I've been pretty impressed with him. I just do wonder, like, am I supposed to view him as higher than the Young Boys? Or
I don't know.
a contemporary?
To me, I think he's on the same level, even though he was in this big 8-man tag here. I mean, we have seen times where one young boy will be thrown on like an 8-man tag on this specifically to take the fall in a match like this, and that's exactly what happened in this match. Yoshida, he got hit with the ape shit and was pinned by Tangaloa.
Yeah. So, yeah, and when I said Bullet Club, just to be clear, we're talking about the OGs. We're talking about Fale, Tamatonga, Tangaloa, and Ishimori. Mm-hmm. And in these matches, Ishimori is just... he's the star.
Oh, yeah, hands down.
Hands down. So with that, Bullet Club picks up a win. Pretty good match. Really good closing stretch. Yoshida looked good. Ishimori looked good, and we move on. We get a special singles match.
Yeah, Beretta against Toa Hanare. And this was, Beretta's big return to singles action after the bicep injury. Mm-hmm. And, I thought this match was just okay.
I was a little disappointed in it. It went like 8:50, and it felt a lot longer than that to me. I think part of the problem is like the fans weren't really that into it in Corkin, which is kind of surprising because it's a pretty hot crowd.
Right.
They weren't like technically bad, but I don't know. Like to me, Beretta, and I've noticed this, and we'll talk more about it. But Beretta on this tour, he's such a dynamic guy to me. So there's many times where like I grade on a curve with him. There's things that typically, now granted there's probably ring rust, and granted there's probably nerves coming back to Japan, but this is a guy who like can do this type of match in his sleep and look great. And there's certain times where like some of the flashier stuff that I'm used to him just hitting like clockwork,
right,
he was like a little off, a little bit off. The other thing too is Hanare, who has impressed us. Like a lot of his matches where he's really impressive are brawls. Right. Working a classic styled wrestling match with Beretta is a little different. It wasn't really in his wheelhouse,
Right,
what I mean?
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, not too much else to say here, but I mean, Beretta picked up the win with the Dude Buster.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, like, we don't get singles matches a lot in New Japan. So when it happens, it's kind of a big deal. This was a special singles match. I thought both guys had an okay accounting of themselves. I'm not going to bury them, but that being said, this wasn't something where like Beretta came back and he looked like a world beater.
Right.
Hanare looked like he's ready for a push.
Yeah,
It was nothing like that. But I do think they're heating up Beretta.
Oh yeah.
Because I think that's the whole reason they gave him this match, and obviously with him going over, it is somewhat of a push. So we'll see where that goes. Mm-hmm. I don't know. Do you have any final thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad Beretta's back, and hopefully future one-on-one matches will be even better performances. So, Yep.
So that brings us to the next match of the night. Hiroki Goto, the never openweight champion, along with Booker Man Gato, taking on Lord Taichi and Taka Michinoku. And Jeremy, you told me you didn't catch this in the beginning of this match?
I went back and saw it, but yeah, Taichi gave the good old bird to Harold May.
Yeah, he said Taichi 316 I just broke your rules. So I mean that's like the one big talking point. I mean, we can discuss the match here in a moment, but I don't know. I've heard so many other people kind of comment on this, and I mean, how serious do you think these new like regulations and rules are when it comes to the profanity stuff, because it's like everyone's just breaking it.
Yeah, that's the thing. I don't know if it's that serious. I mean, Makabe's still doing his thing. Bullet Club OG, they're still cursing and doing. I mean, we forgot talking about this, but Tama Tonga's like bringing the camera down to his crotch, making.
Oh yeah. When he's walking out, he's like humping the lens.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it is what it is.
I mean, yeah. There's clearly wrestlers are clearly disobeying it. So.
And I mean, this is one of the most like overt like violations of it. Literally,
right.
The president of the company who apparently made this rule or whatever, Taichi just looks at him right in the face and throws this big bony middle finger right up in his face. So I don't know. I mean, I'm just wondering if it's something where it's like maybe there's a grace period or leniency, or maybe it's just a storyline. It's really hard to tell like how seriously they're taking this sort of thing.
Right.
Or maybe the boys just don't care.
So one of those like, what are you gonna do? Fire me?
Yeah. Yeah, so very interesting, but that was kind of the big talking point. And then after the match, Taichi, was like kind of cutting a promo on Harold Mai. So very, very, very interesting. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what to think about that.
And again, this was another kind of just okay match. Goto gets the GTR on Taka, gets the win.
These Road 2 shows, sometimes guys will really work real hard during the Road 2 shows to set stuff up. But, the Destruction Tour, typically guys kind of like, it's post G1, guys kind of take a break. Now we're going to get some pretty dynamic stuff on this show.
Yeah.
But for the most part, a lot of what we're seeing is guys kind of taking it easy. And this was another one of those things. I think the whole point here, obviously, is Goto's going to be defending the Never title against Taichi very shortly.
Right.
And so these matches, again, it's Road 2 shows, so you're going to see similar matches or different variations of the same matchup. And so Goto and Taichi are, wrestling in tag matches on this tour. And every night, Taichi's pretty much jumping Goto before the bell, and that's kind of the story of these matches. Yeah. What do you make of Goto and Taichi?
Their in-ring interactions, they really haven't blown me out of the water. It's kind of been there, so I'm not exactly sure how their one-on-one match is going to be. We know Goto is a guy that will coast if he's not in there with the right guy to challenge him.
He wrestles to the level of his competition.
Yeah.
I've said it time and time again.
And Taichi, he's getting better, but he's not really, his in-ring stuff has never been like amazing, outstanding, so.
No, he had 2 good matches back to back with Tanahashi and Naito earlier in the year, but since then I literally have seen nothing that's compelled me. Now I think it's kind of cool that since they left him out of the G1, they kind of threw him a bone and were like, all right, well, we'll throw you a never open weight title,
right?
Shot. I don't know. Do you think he's taking the title off Goto?
I don't think so.
I kind of feel like he might.
Yeah.
I don't know. Wrestle Kingdom's coming up, so it's hard to say.
Yeah.
But
I don't know. He's out here shooting the bird, the president. Like
he could take the title and then maybe lose it again at King of Pro Wrestling.
Right.
It's hard to say.
Yeah.
But so this match ended. Goto and Gato defeated Taichi and Taka Michinoku at 9 minutes and 16 seconds. Goto hit the GTR on Taka, and that was pretty much it.
Yeah. Next up, we had another 8-man tag with Naito, Evil, Sonata, and Bushi, LIJ, taking on the Suzuki-gun team of Minoru Suzuki, Iizuka, Kanemaru, and El Desperado.
Honestly, I don't even feel like we really need to discuss this match.
It's what you thought would happen, folks. Suzuki-gun jumps the bell, wild brawl over the place.
It's wash, rinse, and repeat. And not only that, like, these LIJ and Suzuki-gun matches are more egregious than normal as far as, like, just being all over the place. To me, they're a mess. It's fun, but it's too chaotic for me to really take seriously. The whole point here, obviously, is we're setting up Naito and Suzuki. Mm-hmm. And you got Iizuka in there doing his thing and all that. So it's whatever.
Yeah.
It feels like we've had LIJ and Suzuki-gun all year.
Yeah.
At this point, it's got to be like, a feud of the year candidate.
Yeah.
It's got to be. But nothing here really, I would say, go out of your way and watch.
Right. LIJ gets the win with the Magic Killer on Iizuka. They get the win. So up next we have Hiroshi Tanahashi.
Well, before we move on, I think the big thing to point out is the one redeeming point out of these matches is, Suzuki and Naito's interactions after the match.
Right, yeah.
Super heated, lots of brawling. There was the point where Suzuki kept trying to get back in the ring with the chair.
Yeah, then Naito did the Steno pose.
Yeah. But it seems like it's a lesser version of what they already did earlier this year.
Right, yeah.
Before they wrestled at Hinokuni.
Right.
So it's kind of like it's the same feud, but with less heat and no title behind it. So it does kind of make you wonder, what is this? What's the point of this?
Yeah. Who knows? I mean, it's what else do you do with those two guys right now, I guess?
I'm not opposed to seeing them wrestle again.
Yeah.
But the build to the first match was so excellent that I'm kind of well, maybe they're doing the opposite this time. Maybe the build's not going to be so great and the match is going to be awesome.
Let's hope that's the case.
But, yeah, so, the one thing I would say, skip the match. Fast forward, and you can see the Naito and Suzuki stuff after the end of the match, and it's pretty good.
Yeah, so up next we had Hiroshi Tanahashi, Togi Makabe, and Honma taking on Kazuchika Okada, Toru Yano, and Yoshihashi. 6-man tag. This was another good match. I mean,
we've got the build to Tanahashi and Okada going.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much anytime you have Tanahashi and Okada in the ring together, it's going to be good. Even in these multi-man tag matches, their interactions are always some of the best stuff in the matches.
What did you think about Okada bringing the balloons back?
Yeah, I did think that was kind of weird. I was like, oh, here we go. We're regressing all in. We got the code and doing the Rainmaker pose, and now he's regressed back to coming out with balloons.
I'll tell you one thing. I don't know if you noticed this. His hair's getting really light.
Yeah.
His hair's getting really light.
Yeah, the red dye is...
The red dye's going out, and I'm starting to wonder, he's not re-dyeing it. Maybe there's a reason for that. Maybe
he's going to come back with the...
we might be getting the Rainmaker back.
For the Tanahashi match?
Yeah, we might be getting the Rainmaker back. That's just my gut instinct for King of Pro Wrestling.
Yeah.
Hopefully. I don't know. There are probably other listeners who are still waiting to see how this storyline develops. Maybe they're hoping that they don't abandon the whole Broken Okada thing so quickly,
Right.
Which, that would be more in line with New Japan's storytelling methods, I would say. But I don't know. I mean, he's not dyeing the hair back red yet, so we'll see what happens at King of Pro Wrestling. But yeah, the balloons are back, and man, that jarring music.
Yeah. But Okada, Yano, and Yoshihashi end up getting the win here. Yano, low blow and a cradle on Honma. And so, yeah, Chaos gets the win here.
Yeah, these matches, very easy to kind of get through. Nothing, blow you away. But, just it's a Road to show,
Yeah.
And then that's going to bring us to the main event, which was the Golden Lovers taking on Tomohiro Ishii and Will Ospreay. And I got to say, Jeremy, that I was nothing if not excited for this match.
This match was freaking amazing, dude. This was a banger. This was the best match of all 3 nights.
Yeah, by far.
This was amazing stuff right here.
By far. The thing is, ever since WrestleMania weekend when we saw Ibushi and Will Ospreay square off at that Rev Pro show.
Yeah.
I've been wanting to get them back in the ring together for a while. And then obviously Ishii and the Golden Lovers interactions during the G1. So, I mean, how could this be anything but fantastic? But
right. I mean, the hard-hitting action between all of them, the high spots and high-flying moves between Ibushi and Ospreay. I mean, Omega and Ishii killing each other. I mean... The crowd was so into the match. I was so into this match.
I was very, very, very into this match. And, this match just blew me away. Some of my favorite stuff about it were the interactions between Ishii and Kenny Omega, just the striking exchanges. And, Kenny, did I say Will Ospreay? I meant to say Kenny Omega. But Kenny just trying to stand up to Ishii and, show that he's a man.
Yeah.
And just getting cut down for his courage, that's been amazing. And then I know you really dug the interactions between Ospreay and
yeah, dude, I love that. I mean, that's been the theme of the weekend. Ospreay gets in there, give me Ibushi, and they get in there and they just mix it up and doing some of the crazy stuff that only those 2 guys can do.
Yeah, it's just so excellent because obviously at this point we think of Ibushi as a full-fledged New Japan heavyweight, but when he gets in there with some of the excellent juniors out there, guys like a Ricochet, like type level caliber, or Will Ospreay, who can do these things. And also, like, you know, we saw his interactions with Hiromu during the Pro show.
Yeah.
So I mean, like, you know, having a heavyweight, like I've said this time and time again, I think that Ibushi is the most versatile guy on the New Japan roster when it comes to working different styles. And this was nothing if not special. I thought this match was going to be good, but I mean, I would have topped it out at like 4 stars, just given the fact that it was a Corkin show. Yeah. Given the fact that it was a Destruction show.
Road 2. Yeah.
That's what I mean, a Road 2 Destruction show. Yeah. I was not expecting something like this. I mean, this was one of the best tag team matches I've seen this year.
Yeah, dude, this was amazing, and it just makes me want to see Will Ospreay move up to heavyweight.
You know, and it started out really good with the different wrestling and, like chain grappling and then the strike exchanges and all that. But once they started getting into the meat of the match midway through, and people just started throwing out bombs, and then everyone just kept all the near falls and all the all the
Golden Lovers doing the cross slash.
Here's part of why I think this match was so great, and you can correct me if you think I'm wrong, but I think ultimately, and we're going to talk about it later, but I think that we are leading inevitably to an encounter between Ibushi and Kenny.
Oh, yeah. And there's something that we'll talk about after the tag match on the third night that definitely makes me think we're going that way.
With that being said, I don't know that they'll necessarily break up. You know what I mean?
Right.
I'm not saying that because we've seen it before where tag team members, especially given the sports-centric nature of New Japan, they can have a match and still maintain...
Still be partners.
But at the same time, how volatile things might get, it seems like they could be leading to a split.
Yeah.
And if that's the case, this run that they're on and the fact that they've had only a handful of tag matches leads me to believe that maybe when they get in the ring, they don't want this to be seen as some sort of cash grab or some sort of fluke. I think that they're trying to leave an actual legacy behind, and that's why every time they get in the ring, they work so hard to have dynamic matches, even when it's a Cork and Road 2 show.
Right.
I mean, would you agree with that?
Yeah, I mean, that's a great analysis, and also too, I mean, we've seen Omega several times now. Omega's a guy almost in the same mindset of the Young Bucks, where they go out there and they give you their best performance every night, regardless of what size crowd it is, what city they're in, what arena they're in. Mm-hmm. Those guys that go out there and they give it 100%. Yeah. So I expect no less from Kenny Omega matches.
And this match was just a shining example of that. I mean, every single one of these guys was on fire. Ospreay just reminding me, I mean, it feels like it's been a little while since we've seen Ospreay.
Right, yeah.
And it's been a little while since we've seen him work to this level in a New Japan ring.
Yeah.
I feel like since the Ishimori match, we really haven't seen him really at that high-end level. Mm-hmm. Even during the Super Juniors, he carried a lot of guys, but he didn't work to a super
high level. He was in that A block, which was not...
Right.
B block was where it was at, and...
Right, and then, I guess he did have that fantastic match with Hiromu where he dropped the belt.
Yeah.
That's right, but even still, it's been a little while, whereas this was like the return of Ospreay. And, I mean, what are your thoughts also on a guy like, obviously, Ospreay, he wrestled Okada at the anniversary show earlier this year. We keep hearing the different arguments for, juniors. Obviously, we saw what happened with Marty and Okada at All In. Mm-hmm. And then you watch a match like this where you've got two of the top heavyweight stars in New Japan today in the Golden Lovers, and both of them are former IWGP Junior champions. Both of them work a very similar style. And I mean, they've got a few pounds on Ospreay?
Right. I mean, it's like I said, I want Ospreay. I think Ospreay would be a great fit into the heavyweight division. Don't get me wrong, the junior division in New Japan is great. It's well booked. It's probably one of the best booked junior/cruiserweight divisions in all of wrestling right now. And those guys, they get to main event shows, they get their own tours, they get tournaments, they get focus. But it's like, for a guy that's that talented as Will Ospreay, you see what he can do with guys like Omega, Ibushi, Okada. It's like, I want to see this guy mix it up with all the heavyweights and get some shine in that division.
Yeah, I mean, I'm ready at this point to admit that, I have no problem with there being a junior division. I love the junior division. I love the junior title. And we're not the only ones who've ever called for this, obviously, especially if you're a fan of this product. But it's like, I want to see more heavyweights and juniors interacting.
Yeah.
There's too many great matches to be had to not be doing that more often, and I want to watch it in a context where
it's possible for the junior to win.
Exactly. You know what I mean? So I thought this match was excellent. I thought Ospreay was great. I thought Ishii was phenomenal. The Golden Lovers are the Golden Lovers. This is the recommendation of this tour so far.
Yeah,
like this match was awesome.
Go out of your way to watch this one.
To finish it off, the Golden Lovers end up hitting the golden trigger on Will Ospreay. They pick up the 1, 2, 3, and yeah, this match was just really, really fun, really, really incredible. The crowd was locked in the entire time, and yeah, I mean, this could have headlined any kind of like big show.
Yeah, I mean, easily. So I would highly recommend if you're like gonna cherry pick or watch anything, you gotta see this match. Yeah, man, good stuff. So then we move on to September 8th. Show kicks off with Young Boy action with Shota Umino teaming up with Yuya Uemura.
This gets a recommendation from me.
Going against Ren Narita and Yota Tsuji. And I gotta say, man, Tsuji is looking great, dude. This guy's packed on some muscle. He's bigger. Look at him. Look at him. He's masculine. He's huge. He's got the hair growing out. He's got the the beard growing out.
Tsuji looks good,
dude.
Man.
He's looking like a star out there, man.
So when we first started seeing Tsuji and Uemura come out, we kind of said, we got to give them some time, see where they are. Man, Tsuji looked green, like so green. I mean, this guy, like we were kind of talking, we're like, yeah, he's a bruiser. Yeah, he's got hard strikes, but man, he is stiff as crap. He feels like he can't move, like his mechanics are not there, and it's like we haven't seen him in a while. Obviously, like the young boys really weren't working the G1. All of a sudden this dude comes out and I'm like, where's Tsuji been?
Yeah,
like this guy put on some weight, and I mean his frame can really carry that weight.
Yeah, dude.
And his wrestling, he has gotten
so much better. Yeah, dude, yeah. All his matches this tour, man.
And it's not just the fact that we're noticing how much better he's getting, because don't get me wrong, Uemura also is taking great strides, but
he was already better.
He was already really, really good, but Tsuji, it's like overnight he's become a different guy. And another thing about it, and I'm going to point this out, I don't think we're the only ones I don't think this is lost on New Japan, because they made a point of showcasing Tsuji in this match. This was the Tsuji show.
Oh, yeah.
They let him get in a ton of great offense against Umino and Uemura. Him and Narita worked really, really well together. And then he had a ton of like near falls going up against Umino, which is usually like in the past when we saw Tsuji first come out, just like we do with most young boys, like, they might get a lot of like offense, but they're not getting near falls, they're not getting submission nears, they're not gonna do that. Whereas now, like he's trying to go for roll-ups, and he's trying to get the win. And then when it got to a point where finally Umino started putting him in the Boston Crab, I was like, oh, that's pretty much it.
And then he fires up, gets to the ropes, and like fights out of it.
Yeah, and he actually got almost to the ropes, got dragged to the middle. Yeah. That's where you're like, oh, it's over. Then he fired up and got to the ropes, and then you're like, oh my God. A few seconds later, he got back into the Boston Crab and then finally tapped out, which that's a big deal. I'm not saying that this hasn't happened on maybe, say, like an untelevised show, but I've never seen Tsuji in any of these matches.
It's been a while since we saw Tsuji, really, right?
Yeah, and when in the past, given his career trajectory, just like most young lions, he probably would have tapped out to the first like Boston Crab early on. So the fact that he showed so much spirit and got to the ropes is kind of showing like,
and dude, his drop kick.
Oh yeah, he has, and bro, he's got one of those awesome like Minoru Suzuki running drop kicks, except his is more like a missile. Like,
yeah.
It's awesome, yeah.
And his chops too were pretty vicious also.
All these guys looked great, and every single young lion has a great drop kick. Every single one of them, like it's
like there's like a special like drop kick day at the dojo. Like you're not leaving until your drop kick looks good.
So very, very interesting stuff. But Umino and Uemura pick up the win. I would give this match a recommendation if you're a fan of the Young Lions or a fan of good wrestling. I keep your eyes on Tsuji, guys. Keep your eyes on this guy. I know when he first came out, he wasn't my favorite, but man, he's really impressing me.
Yeah, man. I can't wait to see more. I can't wait for the next, Lionsgate show or Lions Project or something to see this guy get some more one-on-one matches.
I want to see him beat up Kitamura.
Oh, man.
So that brings us to the next match of the night. Ayato Yoshida taking on Chase Owens. This is what I'm talking about, Jeremy. This is what I meant. Very rarely do we get young lions in special singles matches. Yes, I know we do from time to time, but Yoshida's got a singles match. That just is very interesting to me because I'm like, what is the point of this? Are they trying to test him out? Or are they like trying to break him? Like, what's the, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, to me, I kind of feel like he's almost like maybe like a developmental kind of like deal kind of gimmick. And I want to say maybe I feel like they've seen enough of him where they kind of want him on the roster, but they're kind of like easing him into the roster.
Right.
You're not quite a young boy, but you're not quite experienced, so we got to start you down at the bottom of the card.
You're an outside guy.
Right. You're gonna be an outsider. Yeah, you're gonna be in a couple of opening matches. You're gonna eat some L's for a while, but I feel like they definitely want him on the roster, but they're kind of easing him into New Japan.
That's a good way to put it. That makes a lot of sense. So yeah, I would say I'd agree with that. But this match with Chase Owens, nothing special. Yoshida, good-looking kid, good-looking prospect. Obviously, he eats a package pile driver. The one thing I thought that was funny about it was before he ate the package pile driver, Chase Owens was giving him a lot of offense.
Yeah.
A lot. And actually, I don't know if you noticed this. After the match was over, Chase Owens walked up to the camera and he's like, I dislocated my shoulder. And they were like, what?
No, I missed that.
Yeah, but I mean, he worked the next night. So, I mean, I don't know how serious that. Maybe he was just in character. But.
Yeah, working.
So, yep, Chase Owens, the crown jewel of all pro wrestling.
Yeah, I mean, with Chase Owens, you can always expect, like, a smart, simple...
No, not smart, not simple, masterful, okay?
Tactician.
He's a masterful tactician.
The best there is, the best there was, the best there ever will be.
Damn straight.
So next up, we got a 8-man tag with Makabe, Michael Elgin, David Finlay, and Toa Hanare taking on Bullet Club, Fale, Tamatonga, Tangaloa, and Taiji Ishimori. Pretty similar to the previous night's Bullet Club match.
It is interesting how when Tama is in these multi-man matches, how he comes off like a star because he's so protected versus how he can't get away with that sort of thing in a singles match. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. In these multi-man matches, the guy looks great. And you like watch him and you just wonder, you're like, why aren't they doing more with him? But then you watch G1 and you're like,
that's why.
But yeah, how about what are your thoughts on Dave Finlay being in all these multi-man matches? Obviously, he doesn't have a big upcoming title defense on the Destruction Tour, and obviously Cody's not here. But
well, actually,
he's got a big match coming up with Cody.
What you mean, Finlay?
Did I say Finlay? I meant.
You meant Juice?
Yeah, what am I talking about? Juice is not even in this match.
Yeah,
what am I even thinking?
I was like, but Finlay does have a match. They have a Never 6-man title match coming up, right?
Yes, yeah. Taguchi Japan is going to be challenging for these 6-man tag titles. I don't know why I even said that. I'm just tired. Guys, if you hear me rambling or saying crazy stuff or I've got crazy takes, you got to forgive me. I am exhausted today. New job, new work hours. I'm drinking coffee as we record, and it's 7:53 at night. And I've been drinking coffee all day, and I'm delirious. So, but with that being said, this is everything that you would have expected from a Bullet Club match. Again,
Ishimori's the star.
I mean, he looks great. Makabe, Elgin, Finlay, Hanare. I really like the interactions between Elgin and Ishimori in these matches, by the way.
Again, I mean, Ishimori's another one of these guys that it's like, yes, I get he's small, he's a junior, but I would love to see him in a heavyweight division.
He's really small, though.
Yeah, I mean, he's like Mysterio's size, and Mysterio's been in the heavyweight division. So, I mean, I would love to see Ishimori like if they actually use like the never openweight belt to have like heavyweight versus junior matches. Like Ishimori is a guy that could easily have great matches with heavyweights.
Yeah, but Rey Mysterio wears a mask.
So he wears a mask. He doesn't work with that.
No. The only reason Rey Mysterio beats bigger guys is he's a superhero, essentially. That's the only reason. Ishimori, he's just... you know, he's small, man. No
Look
way.
at him. He's puny.
He's puny, bro. maybe if you put a mask on, like, maybe.
Yeah. So yeah, that's it. You know, Bullet Club gets the win again. Gun stun on Hanare.
No, in all seriousness though, like the way he's been setting up the yes lock, and then like trapping the other arm and rolling the guys back in, like that's been dope.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. But you know what? I literally don't know. Like, he is one of the guys where I do see him as being, like, in a way too small to, like, beat up big guys in New Japan. Am I crazy for that?
I don't know. I feel like there are certain guys, like, I could see him, like, in a match with Okada, Tanahashi, Omega. Like, I could see him having competitive matches with those guys.
Yeah, but, like, beating them? I don't know, man.
Of beating them, but having a competitive match with them.
Yeah, but we talked earlier how we were like, yeah, we want to see these guys come out of the juniors
and win, but
I literally could not imagine Ishimori beating those guys. Yeah. I mean, it's pro wrestling, so I mean, anything could happen, but in my mind, maybe I'm just like old fashioned. I'm like, I don't know. Like, see him like beating up, like, you see him beating up Ishii? I don't
know.
I don't know, man. I don't know about all that.
Yeah. There's not many people that could beat up Ishii, even heavyweights. King
of the juniors. Okay. But that brings us to the next match. We got another tag match with Hiroki Goto teaming with Yoshihashi, taking on Taichi and Kanemaru, which was very similar to the night before, but with worse tag team partners.
Yeah. You got Yoshihashi out there, Kanemaru. I mean, again, nothing. I mean, this is a match that's easy, skippable.
Very skippable, especially given the fact that it ends on a
DQ. Taichi hits Goto with the mic stand.
And they jumped Goto before the bell. You would think he would have learned from the night prior, but apparently not. This was just okay. It wasn't even, I wouldn't even put it in good territory.
Yeah.
Nothing about it, though, really makes me excited about watching Goto and Taichi.
Yeah, same here,
I'm not saying that they can't deliver when the match actually comes.
But just the build to it.
The build to it's nothing to me. I could do without it.
Yeah, it's whatever to me.
And it's something I thought they should have done, like, 4 months ago when they gave that title run to Elgin. So, you know.
But, yeah, next up... 8-man tag action, another LIJ Suzuki-gun, obviously Naito, Evil, Bushi, and Sanada. Suzuki-gun being Suzuki, Asuka, Desperado, and Taka. And, you know, pretty much same old as the first match.
It's the same thing, rinse, wash, repeat. It's the exact same thing.
Except the only difference was the finish. I mean, LIJ still wins this time. It was Bushi hitting the MX on Taka. Yeah.
That was pretty much it. I mean, it's literally the same crap that you saw the night before. You know, they were in Corkin again, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think so, yeah.
And then we got, you know, the stuff with Suzuki and Naito afterwards.
Yeah.
So, I mean, let's just move on.
Yeah, next up, 6-man tag, Tomohiro Ishii, Toru Yano, and Will Ospreay against Kenny Omega, Kota Ibushi, and Yujiro Takahashi. So pretty much a rematch from night one, just adding in Yano and Takahashi, Yujiro Takahashi. And yeah, again, I mean...
This was good. I mean, it was in no way the heated, you know, epic match that you got out of the tag match in the main event the night before, and it didn't have to be. This was about half the time. So it was basically just a sprint, but very, very fun, very, very good. Kenny Omega actually had some comments after the show talking about how, like, Tomohiro Ishii can never have fun in the ring, even when, like, Toru Yano's involved.
Right.
which is kind of hilarious.
Yeah, they have the one spot here where all of them were, like, grabbing each other's hair. And then, like, Omega, like, tries to grab
Ishii's hair, and he just can't, and Ishii's just, like, looking at him like, you fool. So that was pretty funny, but, yeah, this was great. Chaos ends up getting the win.
Yeah, Yano, once again, low blow cradle.
Yep.
This time it was on Yujiro.
Yujiro and Yano is hilarious, by the way.
Yeah. But yeah, I love, their interactions were great, too.
And I think, was Peter there that night?
Yeah.
Yeah. Peter.
She had to aid Yujiro after that low blow.
So that takes us to the main event of the night, Hiroshi Tanahashi and Juice Robinson on Kazuchika Okada, Trent Beretta.
Yeah, man, I thought this was another good matchup.
Solid.
Yeah, tons of action. Like I mentioned before, anytime you get Okada and Tanahashi in the ring together, their interactions are always going to be great. I'm really excited for their matchup coming up.
Although, I will say this, like, nothing about it... Like, you don't got to do anything to get me excited for their matches. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
I'm going to be excited because it's Tanahashi and Okada, and who would have thought in 2018 we were going to get a trilogy out of these guys? You know what I mean?
Right, yeah.
Like,
it's funny.
that might be a feud of the year candidate
yeah,
right there.
Yeah, it's funny. Rich, shout out Rich Latta, Social Suplex was here on Friday. We were watching on night one. We were like, I wonder if like Japanese fans are like, man, here we go again. Okada and Tanahashi, same old crap, man. Booking this crap again. Like, how many times are we gonna see this?
Like Orton and Cena.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I don't think so.
I don't think so either. But it'd be funny if secretly like they were.
I mean, obviously, there's diminishing returns with this match. You know,
right? I mean, every time you do it, it's not gonna be as.
There's a reason it's happening at Destruction and not at
King of Pro Wrestling. Yeah.
But with that being the case, I mean, this is a match that wrestling fans still get excited about. It still does business. Like, I'm excited for it. I don't think this build is anything like remarkable, but it's because of the fact that these two guys are kind of in flux. I mean, Tanahashi. Now, how about Tanahashi carrying the new briefcase?
Yeah. It's got his specially designed G1 Climax briefcase.
Yep. So, I mean, but yeah, I mean, nothing here is really like leading me to think like, you know, that this is a fantastic build. I thought the build to their match at Dantaku was much better than what we're getting right now.
The one thing I was worried about in this match, I was worried about Beretta pinning Juice and Juice having to have another potential challenger.
That's what I wanted to ask you about. So now that we're at that point, let's talk about that. So Juice, not only has he been in a lot of tag matches on this tour, obviously, he's kind of not been highlighted in any major way, and he is a title holder.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that, with the fact that he does have, even though on this specific tour, no, he does not have a title challenge coming up, but he does have a title match coming up against Cody, who's red hot off the heels of All In, winning the NWA title, and it seems like Juice right now is just a guy on the roster.
Yeah, I think it's hard for a couple reasons. I think, well, first of all, just the way they book him. Yes, he is a champ. He's a U.S. champ now, but they still kind of book him in this underdog kind of role. Also, too, Cody's not on this tour, so it's kind of hard to, you know, heat that feud up with Cody not being there. I mean, they could give Juice some more shine in these tag matches and heat him up a little bit more. But yeah, I mean, there are other, you know, programs and title matches that are more important than the U.S. match, so he kind of has to take a back seat for right now to some of the bigger feuds.
Well, the good news there is Juice did end up countering the Dude Buster and picked up the win with the Pulp Friction on Beretta, 21 minutes and 15 seconds. You know, very good action-filled match, you know, building up Tanahashi and Okada. We got the face-off with Tanahashi and Okada at the end of the match. And, you know, Juice and Beretta got some time to shine. Feels like with Beretta teaming with Okada, he's kind of filling that role that Chuck E. T's had to fill for him while he was gone.
Yeah.
I kind of assume, like, if Beretta had never got injured, he probably would have been, like, a regular tag partner of Okada.
Yeah.
And then that's going to bring us to September 9th.
Yeah.
Road to Destruction, otherwise known as Blue Justice 8.
Yep. And we kicked off with the ongoing rivalry. This is a rivalry of the year candidate, Yota Tsuji and Yuya Uemura. And man, this was some good stuff between these guys.
Yeah, so this was very, very surprising to me when the match started. Obviously, we talk a lot about how these Young Lion matches tend to have fundamentals, tend to have the basics and all that sort of thing. But this match, their grappling is so much better than it was a few months ago.
Oh, dude, it's like, honestly, like those first few minutes, I felt like I was watching an amateur wrestling match.
Yeah.
The way they were grappling, the moves they were doing, and just how quick and how intense they were.
When I see when I see that type of wrestling happen in New Japan, and another match that comes to mind was from the Best of Super Juniors tour this past year, the match between Sho and Kushida, which is a really good grappling-based match.
Yeah.
When I see these types of matches, it just throws me back to that Fujinami and Ryuma Go matches from the late 70s, 78, 79. This screams that to me all day. The early grappling sequences, you won't find smoother grappling in modern wrestling today. I mean, this stuff was high level caliber. Dude. Very impressive stuff from both men. Yeah.
And once again, Tsuji unleashes that nasty drop kick.
Yep.
Man, drilled Yuya.
And you know, they've kind of been telling this story. I don't know how many times these guys have wrestled now, but Tsuji and Nomura, they've opened up a number of New Japan shows, neither man being able to pick up a win over the other guy. They've gone to 10-minute draws. I think they've gone to 15-minute draws, and this was no exception to the rule.
Dude, the pop when one of these guys finally beats each other, I feel it's going to be huge.
They're going to have to do it in, like, Corkin. They're going to have to do it somewhere where people remember, because I feel like if they do it, like, in a place like this, like, where were they this night? Shiba?
Yeah.
Or Beppu?
I think it was Shiba.
Okay. So, I mean, you know, with that being the case, I'm like, I don't know if you want to do it.
No, yeah, it has to be, Corkin Hall. But that when one of these guys finally wins, it's going to be, like, a big moment.
Now, one thing I think that's interesting is that, you know, in the past, we've had situations where one guy is about to beat the other guy and he has him in a submission hold or something like that. But instead, on this night, Tsuji was trying to make Yumura tap out. Yumura ended up getting to the ropes. They ended up doing a strike battle to close out the match, and then both men hit each other with drop kicks and ended flat on their backs with the time expiring. So we're nowhere near being to a place where one guy seems to have the upper hand over the other. They're presenting them like equals.
Yeah.
And very, very, very interesting. I wonder how long this whole thing is going to continue on.
There's only one way to solve this.
Cage match?
No time limit.
No, you need to do it. Steel cage match. That's the only way to solve everything. Steel cage matches always work, Jeremy. If they didn't, everyone'd still be in the cage. Michael Scott. But that brings us to the next match of the night. Michael Elgin, Ayato Yoshida, Shota Umino, and Ren Narita taking on Bad Luck Fale, Tama Tonga, Tangaloa, and Taiji Ishimori. Again, rinse and repeat. Road 2 shows. I think this is one of the only like major criticisms we really have when it comes to these Road 2 shows. I understand that, you know, it's a touring business and they go to different places, but you're uploading this on, you know, World.
Right, because they don't always upload every single house show in the World.
Right. And so it's like, if you want to do the same match night after night after night on a tour and not put it on World, hey, by all means. But, you know, when you got diehards like us, and we're watching this stuff, I'm like, you know, it's the necessary evil that you kind of have to tolerate to get through all the goodness that this company gives us. So I'm not in any way burying the company, but at the same time, man, I mean, how many 8-man tags can I get with the OG Bullet Club?
Right.
You know?
Yeah, and poor Elgin, he was doomed. He had Yoshida, Umino, and Narita on his team.
Yeah. So it was basically like the Young Boys and Elgin, and you're like, I remember when Elgin came out, you're like, I wonder who's going to win this match. Narita actually, again, I've said this before, just keeps impressing me. His in-ring acumen, he's just getting so good. But he ends up getting caught by the yes lock. Ishimori taps him out. 8 minutes, 55 seconds, and that was all she wrote.
Yep. Next.
I will say this before we move on. I thought that this night in particular, given that they weren't corking, given that the crowd, until the main event, that the crowd really just was not into this. This was probably the hardest show to get through. And also one of the weakest of the three.
Yeah, definitely. So next up we had Hiroki Goto and Geto against Taichi and Desperado.
Goto smartened up on the third night of the tour and realized, this guy might try to attack me with a freaking mic stand again.
Right.
And he cut him off.
Yeah,
Finally.
him. Yeah, sparked him at the beginning. But again, just okay.
Despy hits the Pinche Loco at 11 minutes and 5 seconds. I don't know that this match needed 11 minutes and 5 seconds.
This could have gone like 5 minutes and I would have been fine.
Yeah. Same stuff we've been seeing the whole time. Goto and Taichi. I have a feeling Goto and Taichi might be a little bit of a sleeper, but if it's just average,
I'm not going to be surprised.
I'm happy for Taichi, but I'm just like, what's going to happen? I mean, is Goto going to make this guy a star? I don't know. I don't really know if I see that happening. Also, I want to also address this. Taichi might have moved up to heavyweight, but this dude did not buy new tights.
No, he's still wearing junior tights.
He needs new tights like yesterday.
Yeah.
Like yesterday. It's getting egregious at this point.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, this is a family show. I'm serious, bro. People want to, talk about how he flicked off, Harold Mai and all that. And I'm like, that's not the offensive thing that he's been doing. It's when he rips those pants off and he's got those tiny little tights on. I'm like, dude, there's little kids in the front row. What are you doing, dude?
Damn, pal. Put that thing away.
So, Naito, Evil, Sonata, and Bushi taking on Suzuki, Isuka, Kanemaru, and Taka Michinoku in the next match. I don't know if the matches are actually getting worse or if it's just diminishing returns, but
same old. I mean, there's nothing really to add here. Same old stuff. Suzuki Gun jumping for the bell. Wild brawl throughout the match. Suzuki and Naito trying to kill each other. Comes down to the end. Bushi gets the MX on Taka. Post match, Naito and Suzuki are still at each other's throats.
1, 2, 3.
I mean, yeah. I mean, you could literally watch one of these matches from any of these nights, and you would know what happened.
This is not the semi-main event. Next match, we had Kazuchika Okada and Yoshihashi taking on Hiroshi Tanahashi and Toa Henare. And very similar to what we've seen, except in this case, we saw Toa Henare tap out to that crappy butterfly lock.
Man, that butterfly lock is horrible.
Yeah. So, I mean, nothing tells you you're a geek in this roster worse than tapping out to Yoshihashi's butterfly lock. I feel like that's a rib. I feel like that is literally like a rib. Hey, kid, when you get out there, you're tapping to the butterfly lock. You're like, dang it.
Oh, man.
Can I just work with the young lions?
Yeah.
So that happened, and it was overall a good match. It wasn't the best of what we've seen of Okada and Tanahashi on this tour. There's nothing really noteworthy that occurred, but this wasn't in no way bad.
Yeah. So then next up we had Chaos versus Bullet Club Elite. It was Ishii, Toru Yano, Beretta, and Will Ospreay against Kenny Omega, Kota Ibushi, Yujiro Takahashi, and Chase Owens.
Yeah, so essentially we ended up with, the Golden Lovers, and then, all the rest of the guys that are in the Bullet Club that are not part of the Elite.
Well, they're part of the Bullet Club Elite.
I mean, I guess. I don't know what you want to label these guys.
I mean, they clearly on commentary. There's Bullet Club Elite and Bullet Club OG.
That's stupid.
It's like Wolfpack and Black and White.
That's dumb. That's literally when it starts. That's when you know that you need to kind of kill the angle, because that was the downward point of the NWO. That's when it became all right, it's time to. In hindsight, you look back at it and it's that's one of the most awful times they should have killed it.
Yeah, but I gotta say, I love me some NWO Wolfpack, and I love me some Bullet Club Elite.
Hey, that's fine. It doesn't make the angle good. Just because you like the group doesn't make the angle good at all. But with that being said, we got Chaos here. Trent, Toru Yano, Ishii, Will Ospreay. This was good. Again, same thing, a little bit of diminishing returns. We started off with that incredible tag match, then we got a very good, 6-man tag, and then we ended up with, your standard run-of-the-mill, New Japan, 8-man tag.
Yeah.
And hey, these guys have been working really hard, so I'm not going to, sit here and criticize them for kind of, taking some time off. Everything that these guys have done has been really good, especially, again, when it comes to the Ibushi and Will Ospreay stuff and the Omega and Ishii stuff.
Yeah, I mean, these guys were having a little bit of fun in this match with, the wishbone leg split spot.
That was entertaining, yeah.
Yeah.
So this was fun. This was very entertaining. We ended up with the Chaos team picking up the win. Trent basically escaped the package pile driver, hits the dude buster on Chase Owens for the 1-2-3. And like I said before, it does seem like they're trying to heat Trent up a little bit. What for? I mean, obviously him coming back from injury.
I think right now they're just kind of reintroducing him. Like, hey, he's back. Here he is. Before he left, he made that switch to heavyweight, had a U.S. title match. So kind of like reminding fans, like, hey, this guy's a serious contender.
Did he have a U.S. title match
against Kenny?
Oh yeah, against Kenny. Wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then So.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah. So then next we had the main event of the night with Nakanishi, Tenzan, Nagata, and the returning Satoshi Kojima, taking on Togi Makabe, Hanma, Juice Robinson, and David Finlay. And if you listen to this show, you know I am a Kojima mark, and I was very happy to see Kojima back. Gear was looking raw, looks in great shape. I thought he looked pretty good in the ring.
Yeah, I was.
Cozy's back.
I was happy to see Kojima come back. Obviously, the crowd. There was a sea of orange when he came out. This actually was pretty cool. This was the first Blue Justice show that Nagata's done that drew over 2,000. So he actually made mention of that online, which was pretty cool. Obviously, everybody was very excited to see Kojima return, and then I guess the idea of seeing all the third generation guys tagged together, Kojima, Nagata, Tenzan, and Nakanishi. That's a cool idea.
Yeah.
That being said here, there was some nostalgia here. Yeah, it was a cool moment, but I really, aside from that, this wasn't really for me, honestly, if I'm just being honest about the match. I could really do without the third generation guys. Okay, I don't want to make a broad statement like that, because I do think ultimately Nagata can still go. I thought that Kojima had a great accounting of himself, and we'll see, what he has left in the tank. But at this point, Nakanishi and Tenzan, they gots to go, man.
Yeah, man.
They gots to go, dude.
They're rough.
And you know what? Hanma, since he's come back from injury, he's had some cool moments, but the way he moves, it scares me, bro.
Yeah, dude.
It scares me.
Hanma, I legitimately am worried about Hanma when he's wrestling.
Yeah, me too. And that's not a disingenuous, he was injured. Nah, bro, the way he moves, he doesn't move like he was moving before. And, there's probably people who are listening who are like, well, he broke his neck, cut him some slack. And I'm like, hey, I get that. And it's not even that I'm saying he's not entertaining or anything like that. It's more like I'm scared watching him move. Something feels off. And
we've seen guys in wrestling break their necks before, and they do come back, and they are probably not the same self, but they're pretty close to the level of what they used to be.
Right. But and I'm not saying that I'm not a doctor.
Right.
All I'm saying is the eye test for me. Watching Hanma move, I know he's always been a stiff guy, but the way he moved has always been a little awkward. But man, it's frightening. I don't know if it's maybe a hesitation or a hesitance due to the injury that he suffered, but obviously Makabe isn't what he used to be, and he can go when he needs to go. But this match to me was, it did what it needed to do. If you're gonna do a New Japan Dads match, this is probably the time to do it on a Blue Justice show. But at this point, as the main event of a Road 2 show, that I've got to, as far as my entertainment as a fan, I could do without it. I really enjoyed the Shibata angle with the New Japan Dads from a couple years ago, but I'm pretty much done with this, I'm sorry. I know you were happy, obviously.
Yeah, I was excited to see Kojima back, and I think for me, I was just kind of focusing in on him and how he was doing in the matchup. And I think he looks good coming off the injury.
Maybe I'm being a little overcritical. It's not like these guys needed to do a blowaway or anything
right.
Like that.
You kind of know what you're expecting when they announce this match as the main event.
In a way, this kind of reminded me of the when they did the Super Strong Machine,
right. You know what you're getting. You're not expecting a blowaway main event. you're expecting to get all these guys to hit their high spots. Like, you're going to get Tenzan doing his Mongolian chops. You're going to get Nakanishi doing torture racks. You get Kojima doing Koji cutters and his, machine gun chops in the corner. So it's pretty much, popping for like kind of like these signature moves and stuff like that. And in the end, it came down to Kojima and Tenzan. They hit the Tenkozi cutter, and Kojima hits his lariat on David Finlay and gets the win for the team. Crowd is happy, excited that Kojima's back. They celebrate Kojima, celebrate Nagata, all New Japan dads.
Happy moment. I think that when Kojima gets in front of a bigger crowd, I think that will also be a pretty cool moment. Obviously, it's not going to be a main event like this, but
right.
I think the crowds are going to be happy to see Kojima come back. Right. So, all in all, I did think that this was the weakest of the nights. The only thing really I would say go out of your way, you have to see, it's can't miss, would be that opening or that main event tag match on the first night between the Golden Lovers and Ishii and Ospreay. Everything else, I will say this though, it was kind of like, lots of times with these destruction shows, you kind of get rewarded. Mm-hmm. And I kind of didn't feel like I felt like I was getting a little bit punished. Which I'm not so used to feeling. Like usually I'm like yeah, like they're really, but this wasn't really that, honestly. Yeah. With all that being said, we've got some Destruction Tour shows coming up. Obviously, we've got 3 really, really big matches coming up. Next week we have on the first night we have Kenny and Ishii. On the second night, next Monday, which we may be delaying our coverage. We might be recording on next Tuesday and dropping Wednesday.
Right.
We may be watching it Monday and then recording that night and then coming to you at our regular allotted time. We'll let you guys know.
Yeah, just make sure you're subscribed, follow us, and we'll keep you updated on that.
But next Monday night, it's going to be Naito and Suzuki, and then the following week we have Tanahashi and Okada going at each other for the briefcase. So let's briefly, I know we've already done a preview show, but let's briefly discuss, given that the Destruction, tour, the Road to Destruction tour shows are over, what are your thoughts on these 3 matches, and where what do you see happening? Where are we going from here?
So Omega Ishii, I'm very excited to see those guys in the ring again, based off of their match in the G1 and some of the interactions we've seen on this Road 2 show. I think it's going to be a banger. I expect it to be another match of the year candidate. Those guys are going to go out there, they're going to kill each other. So yeah, out of all 3 of those matches, I think this is probably the one I'm looking forward to the most.
Yeah, I think I'm very, very, very excited about that match. Obviously, Ishii they've been doing a fantastic job making him look like a killer on this tour. That's one of the few matches that they've built up that I'm like, yeah, like you guys have done a good job. I'm very excited for this match.
Yeah, I'm ready for that.
With that being said, I don't think that there's any way at all that Ishii lifts the title off of Kenny. Now, we've kind of discussed some Wrestle Kingdom scenarios, whether or not Omega will be carrying the title into Wrestle Kingdom or not, and most people have said, well, of course he's going to, because Ishii, they're not going to put the title on Ishii and have Ishii go into Wrestle Kingdom with the title. That was when we were supposing at the time that this match was going to be taking place on King of Pro Wrestling. Now that we know that it's not, it's like, well, King of Pro Wrestling's coming up. Who's Kenny going to defend against? So I am kind of wondering, well, where do you think if Kenny Omega does beat Ishii, like we're assuming he will be, where does he kind of go from there? What do you see happening at King of Pro Wrestling? And do you see him going into Wrestle Kingdom with the title?
I do see him going into Wrestle Kingdom as a champion. I mean, I really think that Omega Tanahashi match is
it's
lot.
Gonna happen. Yeah.
I mean, they've done such a great job of protecting it. I think that's the game plan. Omega Tanahashi, King of Pro Wrestling. I mean, they could do him and Ibushi.
Do you think that's where we're going?
I mean, as of right now, I mean, that's the only person I really see. He's the only person that he has a pinfall victory over Omega.
So with that being said, there's some interesting things I kind of wanted to bring up. So Kota Ibushi was recently interviewed by Tokyo Sports, and he said before departing to Chicago, he said that he was feeling alienated by his partner Kenny Omega because of comments Omega had made after their match at the G1, where Omega basically said he wanted to make a new star, so he gave the win away to Kota Ibushi.
Yeah.
And then later on, Chris Charlton, shout out to Chris Charlton at Reason JP, he was translating some of Kota Ibushi's tweets just from a few days ago. This was on September 8th, so we're talking about 2 days ago.
Yeah.
And he said, all these years wasted before getting on the same page all of a sudden sure was worth it, huh? What's going on inside Kenny's head? Did I make the right decision here? Everything's getting decided on a whim. I'm blabbing too much. Ignore me. At 2 a.m, no less.
Yeah, and something I forgot to mention at the end of that Bullet Club match on night 3 when they lost.
Okay.
I don't know if you noticed
you mentioned something that happened. I'm not sure what you were going to talk about.
Ibushi looked really pissed off.
Really?
Like he was over this Bullet Club crap. Like
I didn't pick up on that.
Yeah, like go back and look at it. Like he looked like he was fed up, frustrated. Like, I signed up for Golden Lovers. I did not sign up for Golden Elite. I did not sign up for Bullet Club Elite. I didn't sign up for any of that stuff. Like, these guys are making me lose. You know, your little buddies, Yujiro and Chase. Like you're.
Whoa! Leave Chase out of it. Okay?
He took the pinfall.
Yeah, but Chase and Ibushi are boys. Okay, they're like a tag team of the year candidate right now. Like
the Golden Jewels.
Yeah, the Golden Jewels, baby. No, but what were you saying?
But yeah, so he looked like, you know, just visually like frustrated, and like he immediately like stormed to the back. Like,
really?
Yeah. So to me, I think Ibushi, he's over this Bullet Club crap. He's like, are we Golden Lovers or nah?
I think we all know that they are. Yeah, it was kind of funny. Kenny actually responded to this, and he was like, because someone had tweeted him about it, and he was like, yeah, he's like, I pretty much just made him some chamomile tea and put him to bed right after that. Yeah, he was like, yeah, he gets kind of rambly late at night like that. He's like, I just gave him some chamomile tea and told him to go to bed. Yeah. But with that being said, do you think that they're planting seeds because a lot of people think that we're going to an MSG match with these two guys. Mm-hmm. Obviously, we know that we need, given the stature of the MSG show, it's going to be some sort of match of that caliber.
Right.
Whether it is that match or not, we don't know. Do you think that this is something that they're going to do at King of Pro Wrestling? Or do you think it's something that they're going to do at, like, MSG? Do you think that they can hold off till April of next year to do this?
I mean, I think they can hold off.
And what about the contract negotiations?
Right. First of all, I want to say, I mean, I'm strongly in the opinion that the Bullet Club Elite guys, I feel like they're all going to stay with New Japan and Ring of Honor. I don't see them going anywhere. So I think that Ibushi Omega is a potential for Madison Square Garden. They could wait if they want to. They could keep this kind of like simmering and like have it boil over then. King of Pro Wrestling, it's also a possibility. I mean, Ibushi does have a win over Kenny in the G1. I can't think of anybody else right now who could challenge Omega unless they just don't do a title match at King of Pro Wrestling.
I don't know what... See, I'm asking you these questions because I don't know the answers to them myself. It's not like... They're not leading questions so I can be like, aha, you're wrong.
Right.
I have no idea.
Right.
I assume Kenny has to defend the title at King of Pro Wrestling. I'm just assuming, like, what? They're doing that, at Sumo Hall?
Yeah.
He's got to defend the title.
So who could challenge him?
That's what I'm wondering. We haven't seen, who we haven't seen in a little while. We haven't seen Switchblade. That's a possibility. I don't know.
Could the winner of Naito and Suzuki?
It could be. They could do Zack Sabre.
Oh, yeah.
They could do Zack Sabre. Yeah, that'd actually probably be a good idea.
But yeah, the winner of Naito Suzuki, maybe.
I don't know. Maybe. You think him and Suzuki?
They could do him and Suzuki.
So, I mean, I guess they have some options, but I'm just wondering, I'm like, wow, I mean, all those options, if you did those options to me, I wouldn't see Kenny dropping the belt. And I would agree with you. You'd probably go into Wrestle Kingdom with the title. But going against Ibushi, I don't know.
Right.
It does seem... Now, do you think that these guys... Obviously, we've talked to people, in the New Japan office. We've talked to different people, and they say, like, these guys don't always have clear direction of what's going on.
Right.
With the fact that Kenny might be leaving, or has the potential to leave, do you think that him and, like, Ibushi know this far in advance that, like, hey, we want to do you guys at MSG? Like, is that something that you think, like, because I know we've even heard, like, during different podcasts where Kenny has come out and been like, well, we discussed this match this far in advance and it didn't end up happening. Like, do you think that if that was their goal, they would have already discussed it with him? Or do you think this is more like these guys trying to book themselves into an angle where, because they didn't get the payoff they wanted because they ended up in that semifinal match?
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure. I mean, they could do a trilogy. I mean, they could have Omega Ibushi at King of Pro Wrestling. That's October, and then come April, that's still far enough time where it's not quite back to back.
Do you think people would be as lit for it at that point? Do you think having it in America would help?
Yeah. I mean, I think that crowd that's going to that show would eat up an Omega Ibushi match. I mean, get to see that match live, and if that's the third match, that'll be like the third match in the trilogy. So it'll be like kind of like the finale of that feud. So yeah, I think those fans would eat it up and I think it'd be good.
So let's move on. Obviously, I think we both are going to see, we both agree that there's no way Ishii's going to be Kenny.
Right.
Do you think, before we move on, let me ask you one last thing. Do you think that this will lead to Ishii having a fantastic showing against Kenny, which I think we're going to see that? Do you think that he moves back down in the pecking order and like we don't know what he ends up doing, say, come Wrestle Kingdom time? Or do you think this is something that will elevate him so that he has a more prominent position within the company's rankings come Wrestle Kingdom time?
Man, it's so hard to tell because there have been several years where Ishii does great throughout the year, and you're like, oh, he's going to do something at Wrestle Kingdom, and he winds up in, Never Gauntlet or tag.
I have to see him in a singles
or a
match
tag title match with Toru Yano. However, I do feel like this title match and how well he did in the G1, I feel like I could see him being in the Never Openweight title match at Wrestle Kingdom this year.
Yeah. Maybe even higher.
Yeah. Maybe. We don't know what's happening with the IC belt, but...
Well, I don't know about all that, but yeah we'll see.
Yeah.
But I'm hoping that... My hope is that coming out of G1 and coming out of this title defense, it raises... Obviously, his stock, quote-unquote, has been raised, but I don't want them to just see him as the utility guy that they go to on smaller shows to have main events. I want them to see him as a potential... upper mid-level star.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So we'll see. What are your thoughts going into the Suzuki and Naito feud?
Honestly, I'm not like super pumped for it. I mean, we saw what happened at Wrestling Hainokuni. It was just, the match disappointed. Was a disappointment.
But it seemed like the match could have been so much more. I mean, that match had some real excellent moments.
Yeah.
It just seemed like the structure wasn't there.
I mean, both of these guys are super talented. I love both of these guys. And
both these guys.
And they're definitely capable of having a banger, but I guess it all depends on what's the match layout going to be. Is Suzuki just going to have Naito and Holds majority of the match?
Here's the thing with me. And you're not going to usually hear this from me, but I'm not really looking for the match quality. That's something you won't generally hear from me because obviously that's why we watch New Japan Pro Wrestling. It's for the match quality. My whole thing here is why is this happening and where do both of these guys go from here?
Right, there's no title at stake. There's no number one contendership that we know about at stake.
Now, I'll admit, I haven't been looking at the post-match comments, so maybe there's something like a little hidden gem, a little nugget that I'm missing there. Mm-hmm. But it does feel like, okay, we already saw this. we already got the payoff. It actually seemed more like we were going towards a Zack Sabre Naito feud, which I would be much more excited to see.
Yeah.
But instead, we're getting him and Suzuki again, and it's the same crap, and it's not. And like we said earlier, it's not being done to. So even if they have, like, let's say, a great match, right? They have a really, really good match.
Then what?
What does it mean?
Yeah.
And that's what matters to me when it comes to this particular match in general. What does this mean? Because we've been wondering all year what is going on with Naito. Mm-hmm. And I think that's like the $1 million question. And, you know, earlier in the year, I was like, just wait, guys, they're going to heat him up. I was like, wait till the Japan Cup didn't happen. I was like, wait till the G1 didn't happen. And now I'm kind of like, oh crap, what are they doing with Naito? I was like, wait till Dominion, right? Mm-hmm. Didn't happen. And I'm like, what's happening?
Yeah. Well, I mean, you know, people question the decision, but I mean, I know we're going to talk about some business stats later on in the news, but New Japan business is hot right now.
Hey, I'm not saying that they made the wrong call.
Yeah.
If you remember, I was the guy who said that he should lose at Wrestle Kingdom earlier this year.
Right.
But I'm wondering, where's this going? Because I can't see the vision for what the idea is with Naito. And this is a guy who was probably their hottest star for 2 years. Mm-hmm. Doesn't feel like he is right now. Maybe I'm wrong. I mean, he's still over.
He's still hot. I mean, the crowd.
Obviously, these are not bad business decisions because he's still over. But I am wondering, where are they going with the character?
Yeah, that I have no idea. Yeah, this is hard to tell.
And where does this fit into the story of it all? So it just seems a little bit like we're going in reverse for no reason.
Right.
I feel like there probably could have been another direction they could have gone. But, you know, who knows? I don't know. I'm not the booker. This is one of the more baffling things to me. Hopefully we get a great match, but I'm just wondering what is it all leading to. I don't know. And then finally we've got the match between Tanahashi and Okada next week, or the week after that.
The 23rd, Destruction in Kobe.
Yeah. And this, to me, is the most compelling of all the matches on the Destruction tour.
Yeah, I mean, this is a big matchup here. Is Tanahashi gonna drop the briefcase? Nobody has lost the briefcase, but this is a matchup where the chances of Tana dropping the briefcase are high. He's not beaten Okada in a one-on-one match since 2012?
Yeah, since Wrestle Kingdom 9.
Yeah, so he's failed to beat Okada. Okada usually wins or it's a draw.
He actually had some statements regarding this. Both of them did. So Tanahashi, during the post-match on September 7th, he said, he said, I know Okada far too well. Please show me the part of you that I've never seen before. But just winning is not enough because I've already lost and drew to him. It won't satisfy me. Then what should I do? I'm looking for something more. And Okada had an interview segment to kind of respond to that. And he said, it's obvious, isn't it? Tokyo Dome and the IWGP title, they need me. The answer is there. That's why Tanahashi wants to beat me, isn't it? He needs to beat me in order to get to the Tokyo Dome. You're being naive, aren't you? But the IWGP title, the main event at Tokyo Dome, it's not your place anymore. Well, we're just getting started. There'll be more preview matches. I will get everything out of Tanahashi, and then I will finish him in Kobe.
Ooh.
So... yeah. Some strong words from both guys. We've seen two incredible stories from these guys going back to Dontaku and then, during the G1 A Block finals. And now, like, we're at a point where prior to this, it kind of seemed like when they went to Dontaku, yes, there was, history on the line. And yes, there was a title on the line. And then going into the A Block finals, both guys were kind of at a downward point where they're trying to rise back up. But now we're at a point where, for the first time in a long time, Tanahashi is the guy with something to lose.
Yeah.
And Okada's coming for what he has.
Right. It's almost like going back in time to when Okada burst on the scene and was challenging Tana for the IWGP title.
Do you think that Tanahashi is going to beat Okada?
I do.
You do?
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, I'm telling you, man, I feel Omega Tanahashi's a lock for the Dome. I feel like this whole broken Okada stuff, Okada, he's not fully the Rainmaker, yet he's still kind of broken. And so in this broken state, Tanahashi could beat him. And I think he is going to beat him and kind of cement his place in the Dome.
He actually kind of talked too recently. There's a translation from some statements that Tanahashi had made from a couple weeks ago concerning the G1 and the A block versus the B block and like the attendance. And he said the last A block match followed by the match everybody was hyped for, it drove me from a performance perspective, but it absolutely hurt that attendance was lower. That gap in attendance really sucked. But for all that, we didn't lose out at all. So Saturday, in terms of noise, in terms of reception, it was equal to the B block final. Kenny and Ibushi stayed in their own universe. It was great for people that had been along with them for that whole ride, but it didn't go beyond that. You needed to know everything that had ever happened between the two of them for it to work. People didn't really realize it was Shibata in my corner. It took appearing on the big screen for the crowd to react. Me and Ibushi was fine, but if Ibushi was going to have Kenny in his corner, the 2 versus 2 scenario, Kenny and Cody versus New Japan Icons, it made the story clearer. There's a lot of great matches that are just in a vacuum. Nothing's left on the table and nothing gets taken away. This is just my opinion, but there needs to be a takeaway, and matches need to have a message. So I think, like, kind of looking back here, I think the fact that him and Okada being on the A block night and having probably about similar to, if not equal, performances to the Golden Lovers match the next night.
Yeah.
But drawing about half the crowd, I think that really got to him. I also think that with the fact that Kenny and Ishii is probably going to be a near 5-star match, I think that's going to drive both Tanahashi and Okada to do another truly remarkable and memorable match, given the fact that we've said it before and who knows if it's true, but seems like it might be one of the last mega matches between these two guys in the main event of a big card like this. I'm expecting these guys to go out there and just kill it.
Yeah. I mean, it's going to be probably a match of the year contender.
But at the same time, like the logical part of me says, yes, Tanahashi should win.
Yeah.
But then I'm like, they're really going to have him go over Okada?
Yeah, man, you continue the downward spiral.
I know that makes sense. Sense, but it's still very hard for me to fathom Tanahashi beating Okada after all these years.
Yeah.
Really hard for me to do
I think that's going to be the loss that makes Okada snap back to being the Rainmaker.
Now, what if Tanahashi wins? Or I'm sorry, what if Okada wins?
Well, then I sound like a fool. I sound like a mark, and we get Omega Okada at the Dome.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think we're going to Omega Tanahashi in the Tokyo Dome. So, any final thoughts on the Destruction Tour?
No, looking forward to that stuff. Looking forward to the start of the junior tournament. Some other great stuff coming up. So yeah.
So let's get into some news.
All right.
So September 29th, the day before the what is it called? Fighting Spirit Unleashed. There will be a meet and greet at the LA Dojo from 12 p.m. to 3 p.m. So if you're in the LA area, I believe they're selling tickets. I don't know if they're sold out yet, but you might want to check that out. Lots of great talent has been announced for the Fighting Spirit Unleashed tour. They had originally announced Jushin Thunder Liger, and due to different obligations, he will not be present for the meet and greet. So if you were going to attend that to meet Jushin Thunder Liger, they have announced that he will not be there, but you can still meet many of the other New Japan superstars, so that's probably worth checking out. Also, if you get a chance, New Japan has just released California Dreamin' Part 1, which is the first part of their documentary, which will be detailing Shibata's recovery and his time in the LA dojo as the head coach. Have you gotten a chance to check that out?
No, I haven't got a chance to check that out yet. So yeah, that's definitely on the viewing list for this week.
Yeah. So we'll let you guys know what we think when we check that out. It's been a hectic week, new job, different ventures, but we will be watching that. I have heard nothing but good things though, and I mean, with New Japan's production team, how could it be anything but, stellar and excellent? I do wonder if Rod Grimes is on this.
That would be interesting, and we got to get him on the show soon.
Yeah, Rod Grimes is a local wrestler out of the Tampa Bay area that we are friends with or, closely associated with. He did spend some time training with the guys in the LA dojo, so we actually do plan to have him on the show at some point to kind of talk about that experience. And I do wonder, I bet you he's on this.
Yeah, that'd be tight if he is.
In other news, so Harold Mai just recently did an interview with Kyoto News talking about, why the, CEO of a giant corporation would take on the responsibilities of a company like New Japan, which is, significantly smaller than the toy company that he previously ran.
Yeah.
Very, very, very good read. That was actually just put up a few hours ago, so if you get a chance, it's Kyoto News, KYODO. You definitely want to check that out. Some of the things that Harold was kind of talking about, he was talking about the success that New Japan's been having. Earlier this week, Takaki Kadani, who is the, Bushiroad's governing body president, and also the former president of New Japan Pro Wrestling. He was being interviewed by the local media, and he was talking about some figures that were obtained by Economic Matters, highlighting, basically that New Japan has had the best sales mark in the history of their entire company's history. Chris Charlton, credit to him, also translated the interview via Twitter, and he said that this past year New Japan Pro Wrestling has obtained a total of 4.9 billion yen, which is essentially the equivalent of $44,100,000 in sales, which is enough to comfortably surpass their best year previously, which was in 1997. So they're having their most lucrative year they've ever had right now.
That's awesome. That's amazing news.
This is also going to, make them essentially the second best, marketable company outside of WWE for the year. So that's excellent for them. Other things that are going on with them, they just renewed their 2-hour program on French channel J1. And there's going to be some European expansions going on because they're about to announce television deals in Belgium, Italy, and across the United Kingdom. So
boom, there you go.
They're making European strides. We've talked about the U.S. expansion. It sounds like, given the work that they've done with European companies like RevPro.
Right, and we know we have that the Strong Style Evolved UK tour.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yep, so things are just looking really good for New Japan this year. So really, 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 really strong numbers, really good news. Aside from that, King of Pro Wrestling tickets have gone on sale for overseas fans. So if you plan to attend that show and you are a foreigner, you can now obtain tickets to King of Pro Wrestling. Also, Wrestle Kingdom tickets have officially gone on sale for the pre-sale if you are part of the Japanese fan club.
Yeah.
If you're listening to this in English, chances are you're probably not a part of that fan club.
Yeah. But, one day, if Esteban and all his efforts come true, man, and we get that North American official fan club.
I'm starting my own Wrestle Kingdom. So that's awesome. The free match of the week is Tiger Taguchi teaming up with Rusher Kimura, taking on the Texas Outlaws, which is the team of Dusty Rhodes and Dick Murdoch from the New Japan Pro Wrestling Tag League 1981. You ever seen some Taguchi and Kimura?
I have not. I'll have to add that to the list this week also.
That's actually a match that I never have seen, but Dick Murdoch and Dusty Rhodes stuff in New Japan are some of my favorite stuff that they ever did. I've actually never seen them tag. Oh, that's not true. I have seen them tag, but I've seen them tag in the tag league before, but I like their single stuff better from that time period. But yeah, it's free. It was released today, so definitely want to check that out. We had some stuff going on this past week with Evil and Y2J. What was going on with that, Jeremy?
Yeah, so Evil had a post-match promo. One of the nights he said, "Let me tell you what I think of you today, Chris Jericho. You said in an interview that Chris Jericho versus Evil is a possibility, didn't you?" Lost it. He said, "Did you know that there is a limit on how long you can just hold that Intercontinental title? If you're up for it, then I don't mind at all." And so J.J. Williams from Wrestling Observer tweeted that screenshots of those quotes and tagged Jericho in it. So then Jericho responded, "Evil needs to mind his own effing business," and tagged New Japan.
I mean, I don't expect them to wrestle.
Again, it's one of those scenarios we talk about where guys kind of say stuff backstage. They kind of like try to shoot their own angle in their promo. But yeah, I doubt Jericho's wrestling Evil.
Other news that's going on this week. So obviously Satoshi Kojima has returned to action. So congratulations to
Cozy's back.
To Cozy, and the Bread Club is running strong, running hotter than ever. Also, speaking of backstage promos, so both Bushi as well as Ishimori have talked during post-match interviews, talking about the upcoming Junior Tag League that will be taking place and how they both have secret partners. So, obviously with Bushi, traditionally speaking, he probably would have teamed with Hiromu.
Right. So I'm guessing we're going to get somebody from CMLL maybe?
That's what I was thinking, but I don't know. And then with Ishimori,
would Rush be considered a junior? He's a heavyweight?
I think he's done stuff in the junior league before, but I don't think at this point. I think he's too big.
Gotcha. Because who else?
Plus, he's kind of as a star.
Yeah, he's a star. Yeah.
That. But yeah, I'm trying to remember who's in Los Ingobernables over there right now. I don't know. But I mean, that's one way they could go. I'm not sure. With Ishimori though, he's also teasing that he's going to have a partner. Obviously, the only other junior that would have been with him at the time would have been like Marty Scurll. Mm-hmm. But given the stuff going on with the Bullet Club, I'm wondering like who is Ishimori going to team with during the junior league?
Very interesting. I know he's been in Impact. It could be somebody from Impact. I do know that Tama Tonga was talking about opening up the recruitments for the BCOGs. Yeah, there was actually a video they posted on Twitter talking about recruiting for the Bullet Club, which one NWA World Heavyweight Champion did not take
too kindly to.
Yeah. So Cody responded to this tweet. He says, "We're good here, guys. We've got the best wrestlers in the world, a badass queen, a crazy actor. We've even got a dog. But yeah, I'm sure folks are chomping at the bit to join you and Mr. Juicy's Bullet Club. Go to NXT already, please. Nobody gives a shit." Which then Tama replied, "Shh, nobody asked your business. Stop that nonsense talk about NXT. We're committed to New Japan for a very, very long time. But you already know that. So do they. Shh."
Yeah, so I mean, do you think that they're going to be actually recruiting like new members to the BCOGs? And I mean, what do you see?
They kind of need to. I mean,
do they?
Bullet Club Elite's bigger. Bullet Club Elite is better. Bullet Club Elite wipes the floor at them every time. So
yeah, but this whole angle sucks. Like this angle sucks. It's like just adding more people to the Bullet Club, and let's be real here. Even though there's two factions,
it's still one.
It's one thing. Is adding more bodies to it going to help? I mean, it didn't help and again, going back to the NWO, I mean, the more people they added to it, the worse it got.
Yeah.
The more they've been adding to it, the worse this thing's been getting. So I'm kind of like,
Well, I mean, the whole thing is like the whole feud was, to me, it was all about Tama and Kenny, and Tama already lost. I mean, yeah, sure, they won the Never Six-Man titles, but it's the Never Six-Man titles.
Yeah.
And they're facing the Young Bucks in, Long Beach, but once again, I mean, I don't know who's going to win that, but again, if they win that, so what? I mean, they're still not taking out, like, Kenny or any of the bigger singles guys in the group, so.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm kind of just over I really don't have any use for this whole angle to be, at this point, really at all. Mm-hmm. But I do wonder, in this particular instance, who's going to team with Ishimori, who's going to team with Bushi, and what are the brackets going to be for this Junior Tag League, and when's it even happening? So,
yeah.
Very interesting stuff. We have some news about Bad Luck Fale and his dojo. Different students from his dojo, Michael Richards, Andrew Villalobos, Ben Payne, and Nathan McCarter, have all been accepted into the New Japan dojo.
That's awesome.
It is awesome. I think it's kind of interesting that I don't know the nationality of these wrestlers, but given the names Michael, Andrew, Ben, and Nathan, they're all non-Japanese. They're non-natives.
Right.
So it sounds like we're getting an influx of talent to the New Japan Dojo who are not, non-Japanese. It's been a while since we've seen that.
Yeah, I mean, like Toa Hinara is probably one of the latest young boys who weren't. Yeah. I can't really think of anybody else in recent.
Yeah, so that's very interesting. I mean, we'll see like what kind of students like dojo like Fale's dojo is producing. It's kind of funny, like earlier this year, Fale had just opened the dojo and we kind of like talked about it in the news like it was some sort of like secondary thing, like, oh yeah, Fale opened this dojo, and now all of a sudden it's like, oh yeah, he's like producing all this talent and it's coming over to New Japan. So very interesting stuff. Aside from that, last couple bits of news when it comes to New Japan news. So Kenny Omega, congratulations to him. He was listed as number 1 in this year's PWI 500. Thoughts on that, Jeremy?
I mean, Kenny Omega, he's one of my favorite wrestlers, and that guy, I mean, he's just amazing in the ring. And yeah, man, he's just had a stellar year, and I definitely think that he has earned it. I know PWI is kind of kayfabe and kind of some of the stuff, how they, measure the year and stuff like that. But
now the voting just cut off right after the Dominion match. Yeah. So I think that for a lot of people in their minds, that's kind of what put him over the top, kind of ending Okada's title reign. But do you think that realistically, given that amount of time, that he really should have won, given the fact that Okada did have that legendary title reign during that whole run?
I guess
because I saw some debate online about that sort of thing.
Yeah, I guess we would have to, for me, I guess look back like a match to match quality. I mean, those guys are always like a quarter star away from each other in averages, but I don't know.
From Dominion to Dominion, basically.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
I mean, it's hard to say.
Yeah.
But and then the last bit of New Japan news, kind of leading into our other news. So last week we gave our coverage of All In. If you haven't had a chance, definitely check that out. But one thing we forgot to mention was Kota Ibushi getting lost. So that was kind of like, that was something that was kind of crazy, how like we were at All In, and then like I remember reading the tweet and they're like, yeah, so nobody knows where Kota Ibushi is, and I was like, how does this dude keep getting lost?
Yeah, it's like, why is he like not attached to Kenny's hip?
Why is he traveling alone?
Yeah.
Like the dude gets lost in his own country where he speaks the language, and then you send him overseas, and it's like, yeah, so he was sending out some tweets basically saying like, sorry, All In, I got lost again. I don't know where I'm at. And it's like, how does this keep happening?
No clue, man.
So that was pretty funny. Also, if you haven't had a chance to check out All In and you are a New Japan World subscriber, it is now available. It's been available for about a week, but we didn't get a chance to cover that. So that is now available to you. Definitely want to check that out if you haven't had a chance to. Speaking of All In, we kind of gave our review, but one thing we haven't had a chance to talk about is these figures. And the All In figures they look great.
Yeah, man. I mean, so total attendance for the show, 11,263, and right now they are selling a T-shirt that says 11,263 at youngbucksmerch.com.
There's been some debate about that number too. What's your take on that? Fans who are kind of like saying it's a fluffed up number, or saying what do you think?
I mean, to me, I don't think it is. I mean, yes, I know like WWE a lot of times inflates their numbers, but the whole purpose of this show was to beat the number. So I really don't think they were lying about it. I mean, so this number comes from a combination of the 10,541 tickets that were sold in 30 minutes in May, and then they opened up late production seats and people up in the suites, and the suites were packed. So pretty much, the whole arena was 100% utilized.
Yeah, so I mean, my whole thing with that is people who kind of criticize the number and they're like, oh, it's not real, whatever. It just, maybe you're right, but what would be the point of throwing that number out when the whole point to begin with was to
get to 10,000?
Get to 10,000. Is 10,000 so much less impressive, or is 11,000 so much more impressive?
Right.
To where it just sounds.
And why go 11,263?
It's arbitrary.
Yeah,
it's arbitrary sounding. Like it's not like how WrestleMania 3 you go from 70 to like 90 million. I mean, that's a big jump. But I mean, you're talking about what 1,100 tickets? It's nothing. Like,
yeah.
I don't know. Just that just sounds kind of outrageous to me if people really think that.
Yeah.
They did end up doing a live gate of $458,525.
Yep.
This is where you kind of do get a little bit of a criticism, because these guys sold out in like half an hour, and they pulled in less than $500,000 for a huge show.
Right. I mean, the ticket prices were really low for the show.
They were low. They were low. I think in hindsight, I think that if you're gonna do it different, and obviously at the time we did not know, nobody knew that they were going to sell this thing out, especially in the amount of time they did. Mm-hmm. They might want to have priced those a little bit higher, because it does seem like that's the one place where they left money sitting on the table. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, definitely. Also, where they left money sitting on the table was the merch. I mean, the merchandise sold out at 3:30 p.m. The doors open at 3, so all of the shirts were gone in 30 minutes.
They sold out all their merchandise. Fight TV ended up grossing more than $1 million in pay-per-view revenue between StarCast and All-In iPay-per-view sales. You got to think that the majority of that is All-In buys.
Yeah.
I mean, who would buy StarCast?
Right.
I don't know.
So yeah, it's probably going to be observers estimating about 20,000 iPay-per-view orders from Fight.
Really?
Yeah.
StarCast ended up selling about 11,000 tickets. Pro Wrestling Tees did just under 500K of t-shirt sales. And High Spots had its biggest merchandise day ever at a convention. So, I mean, this is incredible. The WGN 0 hour numbers.
196,000 viewers on WGN.
Which is huge for that TV station. So, I mean, this is just nothing. I mean, these numbers basically say nothing, but like this was just a flat out success.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no other real way that you could interpret it other than that. So I mean, hats off to those guys. All In. This week has been very like crazy. It's like the wrestling world before All In and then the wrestling world after All In.
Yeah, dude. I've been in like an All In depression, man.
Really?
Yeah, man.
I'm kind of glad it's over. It was fun, but I'm ready for some new stuff,
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it was really, really good. So, talking about news from the outside, so we know that the Young Bucks just came out with their children's book. It looks like Cody is taking a page from them, and he will be releasing his own children's book later in the year, which will also center around the adventures and the stories of the Elite. So Cody, I've already seen some artwork. It looks like he's working with the same guys that probably made the Young Bucks.
Yeah, well, they said it's part of the Elite series.
Gotcha.
Which is another thing that makes me say
they're
like
gonna stay together.
Right. It's like you're gonna start this whole like book series and project and then like go to WWE.
Now, one thing that's interesting, we didn't really get into this too much. I know last week we talked about the curtain call at the end of All In, and how everybody was present except for Marty Scurll.
Yep.
And we kind of had some speculation about what that meant and, what the reason was. And over the past week, different stories have kind of been, trickulating and, kind of going out there. And so there were people that were saying that basically that the story was that because Marty went over his time, they basically told him to stay in the back. Well, Marty Scurll was on the Sean Mooney podcast earlier this week, and it seemed like he had kind of a differing story to that.
Right. I mean, he said he only went 1 minute over his time. He said that the show was already running 14 minutes over. The Bucks told him not to cut anything out of his match, and
yeah. And then he said the whole reason that he missed the curtain call at the end was because he was taking a shower.
Yeah.
He wasn't aware that they were going to do that. I don't know. I mean, what do you think? You think that's true?
I mean,
you think he's trying to save face? Like, what do you think?
It's so hard to tell. I mean, we'll never truly know what happened because we weren't back there. I mean, his response to the logical excuse that Okada match was right before. I can imagine wanting to take a nice long shower after that match and kind of get ready, get packed up and get ready to for the post-match dinner or whatever. So, and this is not a high-tech, backstage area. They didn't have, a bunch of monitors on the backstage for them to know what's going on and for him to watch and know that, oh crap, they're all those guys are in the ring. So,
yeah,
I could buy that, but also I could potentially see that there being some heat of the match going back, and they didn't tell him on purpose. But who knows? It's all speculation at this point.
Well, I think the truth could be somewhere in the middle.
Yeah.
We're not really sure. Speaking of All In and Being the Elite came out with a new episode this past week, a 45-minute episode detailing the backstage details of the week of All In. Did you watch that?
Yes, I did.
The whole thing?
Yeah, I did.
I watched, I got through some of it. Anything, in particular? I mean, there probably wasn't not very many bits or anything, right?
No, there was some bits at the end. The one I remember was at the end where Kenny is in Cody's room. He comes into Cody's room, and you think he's talking to Cody. He's like, I just want to say, I'm really sorry for how the way things were.
Was it Randy?
No, it was Pharaoh. So yeah, you see Cody just sitting there staring at Kenny and Kenny's giving his apologies, I would have voted for you for president. I think you would have made a good president. Blah 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 blah. It makes it, so you think he's talking to Cody, and then the camera pans down and it's Pharaoh. He's petting Pharaoh, and Cody's like, "All right, Kenny, get your own damn dog." He's like, "Sorry, man." He's like, "I just wanted to make sure me and Pharaoh were cool." We're cool too, right? He's like, "Yes, Kenny." And then Brandy comes in. He's apologizes to Brandy for putting her through a table at Supercard, and yeah, he's like, "Yeah, I want us to get back together." He's like, "Me, you, Cody, Pharaoh, we can all get back together." He's like, "Me and you could be best friends." And then Flip Gordon comes out the bathroom. He's like, "Best friends? Did I hear you say best friends? I'm Brandy's best friend." And then Corey's like, "Flip, what the hell are you doing in my bathroom?" He's like, "Mine got clogged up." He's like, "Yeah, so yeah, I'll catch you guys later."
That's pretty funny. As far as backstage stuff, anything real eye-opening or interesting?
Nah, not really.
Not really.
Yeah.
Just, So that's cool. So if you get a chance, check that out. The Bucks did go on Twitter and say that they're going to be taking a break from Being the Elite, as well as taking a well-deserved rest following All In. So we probably won't have much coverage of that show, for the next few weeks, I would assume. Maybe, Who knows, maybe even months. It's hard to say. Chris Jericho, who we talked about last week, making a surprise appearance during All In, was all over the media this past week, and everyone wanted to, talk to him about the appearance, the surprise he made. One thing that was real interesting was how I saw where he talked about how they had originally wanted him to do different things for the show,
right?
And he kind of turned them down. And then at the very, kind of in the 11th hour, he's like, "Well, why don't I just do this?"
Yeah.
And so then
he goes into detail on Talka's Jericho last week. About the whole getting it set up, driving there, all the hassle they went through with getting matching gear for Pentagon.
Yeah.
They actually had to spray paint, because Pentagon had gold gear and silver gear. Obviously Penta wore the gold gear. I was going to give Jericho the silver gear, but so they had to get gold spray paint to spray paint the gold so he could look like Pentagon. So all this whole stuff, it was on Talk of Jericho, good stuff.
Yeah, they actually Y2J and the Young Bucks do have a shirt coming out, the Y2 Jackson shirt.
Yeah, it says Bucks of Jericho, or is it Y2 Jackson? That's now available in every Hot Topic.
I also saw where the SCU shirt is also going to be available in Hot Topic soon. So if you are fans of those guys and you want to get their shirt, by all means. And then breaking news that just came out. So Cody and Nick Aldis has confirmed the rematch.
Yeah, so a fan made this poster, the rematch, Cody versus Aldis for the NWA World Championship at the 70th anniversary show, which is happening at the Tennessee Fairgrounds in Nashville. And Nick Aldis retweeted it. It said tickets go on sale this Friday, available on Fight TV.
So are we going to Nashville? Nah. Yo, I can't even joke like that because Jeremy will actually. Jeremy's gonna be down.
Yeah.
I'm like, nah.
Yeah, and a lot of good things are coming up for the NWA. I'm actually pretty excited about this 70th anniversary show. Dave Lagana was interviewed by our new buddy Rich Craich on Voices of Wrestling. They're bringing back the NWA national title. They're going to be doing work with the NWA women's title.
The national title. Oh my gosh! I can't wait for that title to will come
Yeah,
back.
man, the NWA tag titles eventually will be back. So
I think such luminaries as Kahagas have held that belt.
oh my gosh.
But no, that's awesome. I'm excited. I'm big NWA mark from back in the day. So yeah, it's good to
I
see
mean,
what's
it's
going on.
2018. I'm excited about the NWA and the NWA World Title. So shout out to Dave Lagana, 10 Pounds of Gold. I watched the last 10 Pounds of Gold, which was like the post match, kind of like recap of Cody versus Aldis. Amazing stuff. The 10 Pounds of Gold stuff is.
You think Cody's dropping this belt quick?
They could. I guess it all depends what the deal they worked out with. I mean, if they want to go right back to Aldis and
Dude, that's what they used to do with Dusty.
yeah.
They might give him a Dusty run.
Yeah. I guess it all depends. I mean, unless they're trying to get that belt defended in MSG and you have Cody to be the one to do it.
Hey, if it was me and my company and I had to either have Cody be my champion or Nick Aldis be my champion,
I'm going Cody.
you know I'm going Cody. So, yep. So then that's gonna bring us out of the elite. Man, it's like the elite just dominates this other section of news here. We have unfortunate news. Daniel Bryan has officially. He has officially re-signed with WWE, and I know we've kind of had some similar stories, but it's confirmed, it is official, it is a done deal. He is back with, he's with WWE, so there is no chance we're going to be seeing him wrestle outside.
I mean, honestly, I wasn't surprised, kind of based off of the book, all the bookings that he's already been advertised for, and I can't blame the guy. I mean, he's getting, big paycheck. His wife works there. Gotta do what's best for his family. Would I have loved to seen him, come back to Ring of Honor, go to New Japan, wrestle in Europe, wrestle in Mexico? Of course I would. And I mean, he's still at an age where that's still possible down the line. So I'm just hoping with this, new contract that they will actually, now that he's signed, push Bryan to the level that he should be pushed.
Yeah. So we did hear some news about a new detail and wrinkle kind of came out. Everything that you're saying right now, Jeremy, we kind of have talked about, we kind of knew, but there was a new detail that came out regarding an option on his contract that we were not aware of prior to just the other day.
Right. So WWE had the option to extend his contract out another year due to the injury.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I mean, that's one thing that probably, I'm not saying for sure, but there's a good chance that it could have affected his decision to resign with the company. We kind of were aware that they could do this sort of thing. They did it with Rey Mysterio in the past and different people. But, if they really wanted to, they could have exercised this option and kept him for literally, we thought that September 1st was his last day.
Right. Well, because my understanding was once he became the general manager, that reactivated the contract.
Apparently not.
But I guess there's a difference in a wrestler contract and performance, on air.
Yeah. Contract. So that was very, very, that was an interesting wrinkle that was just recently broke this past week we did not know about. So, with that being said, we also have actual unfortunate news. We got news of the passing of Mike Hogwood.
Yeah, so Mike Hogwood, he was a former Ring of Honor broadcaster. He died last Wednesday at the age of 63. He's best known for his work as a college sports announcer for the Atlantic Coast Conference and for various on-air roles at local broadcast stations. He became the Ring of Honor play-by-play man when the promotion had its run on HDNet in 2009. And now Access TV. Despite having no wrestling experience, he and Dave Prazak were a part of all 100 episodes of ROH on HDNet. He was not retained after Sinclair Broadcasting purchased the promotion in June of 2011. He retired from broadcasting in 2013 after a 26-year run. Not 100% sure of what the cause of death is. But there was an outpouring of praise for his work on social media, and I was big into Ring of Honor during the HD Net era, and I've probably seen a majority of those episodes. And, you know, he had his famous catchphrase, slap the porpoise. Anytime somebody got pinned, you know, they got hit with a big move. So, you know, Nigel McGuinness has like the Tower of London. 1, 2, 3, slap the porpoise. This one is over. And I thought he did a really good job for not having a pro wrestling background, and just kind of, you know, being fresh in there. I thought he was very entertaining, and it's kind of sad. I mean, 63, man, that's still pretty young. So sad to hear about that.
Yeah, I wasn't too privy to the HD Net day, so I can't say that I'm too familiar with his work, but our thoughts go out to his family. And that's unfortunate to hear that. But in other news, so the British J Cup occurred this past weekend. So we saw the different brackets. So Jushin Thunder Liger taking on Fletcher, El Phantasmo taking on Bandito, Chapman versus Romero, Show versus Allmark, Yo versus Taguchi, Rich Swann versus Flamita, David Starr taking on Tiger Mask, and Kushida versus Ridgeway. So, you know, obviously Liger, Show, Yo, and Tiger Mask, as well as Kushida, all New Japan stars who who wrestled in this international tournament. Liger ended up going on to the second round of the tournament, where he was the defending champion. He was the former British J Cup champion last year. Tournament winner. He ended up losing to El Phantasmo. Rocky Romero ended up defeating Show to go on to the finals. Kushida ended up defeating David Starr to go on to the finals, and then lost to Rich Swann. So the finals ended up being El Phantasmo, Kushida, Rich Swann, and Rocky Romero, with the winner El Phantasmo taking the British J Cup.
Nice.
So, heard lots of good reports. A lot of the matches were highly recommended. So if you get a chance, that's with RevPro. RevPro's British J Cup. It was a 2-night tournament, so if you get a chance, you definitely want to check that out. Lots of good New Japan action coming out of that. Last week, prior to All In, Kenta, otherwise known as Hideo Itami, made his return to the Noah ring, taking on Marufuji in Marufuji's, I believe, 20th anniversary show?
Yeah.
And these guys just have, you know, a very, very, very deep history going back to the early days of Noah and their tag team and all that sort of thing.
And the match, it's up on YouTube. You just type in Hideo Itami versus Marufuji. It'll be the first thing that pops up.
Yeah, now Michi, Marufuji, and, you know, Kenta were kind of like at one point the two guys that were supposed to be like the next stars in Noah. So, you know, them kind of, it was really cool of WWE to kind of, we've talked about the potential partnership that they have with Noah. We don't know all the extent of it, but, you know, the fact that they allowed Kenta to go back and wrestle, you know, a match like this that had so much meaning. I haven't had a chance to check it out yet, but I definitely want to. It's from all the reports, tons of emotion, very, very emotional for fans of Marufuji as well as Kenta and, you know, old school Noah fans. Marufuji did have a tweet where he talked about if in the future, if WWE ever called him, he would want to return the favor. So,
right.
You know, we might see him on one of these NXT shows one of these days.
Yeah, definitely almost like the Liger thing with against Tyler Breeze in Brooklyn.
Potentially, yeah. Also, speaking of NXT, the rumors of Pentagon and Phoenix are just continuing. Now, I did see that they ran an angle, spoiler alert, in MLW where Selena De La Renta was trying to get them to re-sign a contract, and they kind of ripped them up, right?
Right, because Conan came in and was like, did you even read the contract that she's getting you guys to sign? Like, so they ripped the contract. They're now with Conan feuding against Selena De La Renta.
But yeah, there have been ongoing rumors that, you know, the evidence basically has been mounting that Pentagon and Phoenix might be WWE bound. I mean, earlier this summer, they told promoters that the dates that they had booked for 2019 are going to be questionable at this point. You know, Dave Meltzer wrote, he said the main thing is that both of them are not taking any dates in 2019 in mid-August, which is, usually a sign that people are going to WWE. Also, MLW had put out a tweet earlier this week where they talked about the incredible 2018 that the Lucha Brothers had, and they said MLW fans might be shocked to see what's next.
They spelled
it NXT, which is kind of like, obviously if they are going, they're not allowed to talk about it, but It is interesting that MLW would post something like that, and it might just be like a quick publicity grab or something like that.
Yeah.
But I am wondering. At the same time, Pentagon has come out and like actually publicly addressed this. He did at the recent PCW Ultra show.
Yep.
Where he said he was not going.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, we've seen the same thing from Matt Riddle. We've seen the same thing from Keith Lee. Seen the same thing from a lot of guys. And guess what?
Yeah.
They usually go.
Yeah, he said, I'm not going anywhere. Penta will be in PCW for many more years.
So, I mean, what do you think? I think they're going, man.
I don't know. I've been hearing some people saying, like, potentially maybe Phoenix can go and Penta stays, or I don't know what's going to happen. I wouldn't be surprised if they do go, but at the same time, like, the whole MLW tweet's kind of weird. Pentagon doing this, kind of weird. So I don't know.
Yeah, it's hard to say, but we'll keep our eyes and ears plugged on that. Given the match that we just saw with Pentagon, I'm like, I know earlier, like in the year, we had fans asking, listeners asking us, like, could we ever see Pentagon in New Japan? And I was like, no. But after seeing like him work a New Japan style match, I'm like, please, please come to New Japan. It would be awesome.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
But yeah, so we haven't, we'll see. But speaking of outside shows, so on August 31st, there was a produce show, Takaya Mania Empire, which was basically a charity show that happened in Tokyo at Korakuen Hall. This was another show to kind of help Yoshihiro Takayama following his unfortunate injury and paralysis. Minoru Suzuki helped organize the show and was instrumental in raising money for Takayama's health. I think that you can still give to the Takayama fund that's out there, and maybe at this point we should get some information on that so we can help people donate to that. But this was a produce show. Lots of different stars on it. Miko Satomura's the DDT champion now, which is kind of crazy. I'm not sure how that's possible, but she is, and she was on the show. Dick Togo, lots of different guys. Marufuji was on the show. There was New Japan guys. Hiroyoshi Tenzan and Shota Umino took on Yuji Nagata and Ren Narita. As well in the main event, there was a 6-man tag where Minoru Suzuki teamed up with Mazada and Nosawa Rungai, taking on Tai Okeya, Shuji Kondo, and Taka Michinoku. So, if you might want to if you get a chance, you might want to check out Takaya Mania. There's a couple matches that seemed pretty good on there. Speaking of which, when I went to go check this show out, I went to a website that I always go to when I'm going to check out. I sound like I'm about to do like one of those commercials. Yeah. But no, in all honesty, I went to a website that I usually go to when I'm checking out other Puroresu content. Puroresuspirit.com or .net. It's one of the oldest running Puro websites out there, and it doesn't exist. It's down.
Yeah, you go to the site and you can actually buy it for almost $3,000,
which is like, it's just kind of crazy. Like, that site's been around forever. Like, I cannot remember a time where on the internet where I could look back and find stuff about Japanese pro wrestling and not see that website.
Right.
So I am kind of wondering, like, he had some tweets, right?
Yeah, he made a post on their Facebook page, kind of saying, he's being kind of, he has to step back from doing this, and if anybody wants to take it over, they can, but he's not gonna be able to do it anymore.
Very, very interesting. So that's unfortunate news. Very unfortunate, man.
Yeah.
Puroresu Spirit's been around forever.
So hey, if somebody wants to keep it going,
I was shocked.
Buy that URL.
Yeah, you can buy that URL. I mean, I don't know if it's worth anything, but yeah. It must be worth something if they're trying to sell it for that much money.
Yeah, it's a top website. If you take that over, you're gonna, get some good web traffic. And
we thought about buying, but then we saw the price. We're like, that's like the price. How many? We could get a lot of StarCast bracelets for that.
Oh my gosh.
Wrapping up, we got some other outside news. So CM Punk was recently interviewed and asked about would he be returning to wrestling, and he said at this point he's just going to be focusing on acting. He may be returning to MMA. For him, it's not UFC or bust. He might be taking some outside fights. He's not sure. But the one thing he knows he's not going to be doing is wrestling. He says wrestling has nothing to offer him. So, it was probably cool for those fans that got to sit in line for 12 hours that day in the hot Chicago sun and meet him. But this is a guy who's not coming back.
Yeah.
At this point. So, at this point, in our podcast, I think we are going to stop talking about Bryan and Punk coming back to pro wrestling or coming to, outside companies.
Right,
like
yeah.
NBC.
It's over.
It's over. Yep. So that's done. One guy who did make his return to the indie scene this past weekend, the Velveteen Dream worked the Evolve 112 and 113 shows in dark matches, taking on...
he defeated Austin Theory and he defeated Darby Allin.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on that?
It just continues to show the relationship between Evolve and NXT and, Gabe Sapolsky and Triple H, kind of setting guys out to Evolve for a special dark match for the crowds. I think it's a good little thing for their relationship, and I think it's good for guys like Velveteen to, work in front of an indie crowd like that and wrestle guys like Austin Theory and Darby Allin and kind of get a different experience. So I just wish it was like tape so we can actually see it, but Austin Theory is a guy that any day now could be signed by them and show up in NXT.
Yeah.
And Darby Allin, we've sang his praises
He's
over
dynamo.
and over.
Yeah.
He is kind of small. I don't know if I could see him doing good in NXT, but he might end up being 205 Live bound if he would go to the main roster. But he's a talented guy too, so.
Sure. Dragon Gate news. So Shingo Takagi is going to be a free agent as of October 7th. Longtime star over there. You probably could have seen this coming. He did work the All Japan Carnival this past year. He's been working Big Japan shows, things like that. The only thing I'm wondering is he coming to New Japan? I don't know if he would or not, but I'm a big fan of Shingo. I don't know if you haven't really seen too much of his stuff.
I've seen a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah. So Dragon Gate also had a tease. Pac Alert 2018. I don't know. Pac Alert 2018. They did on their Twitter say that coming next month in October they're going to be running. For one of their shows, they said that they had a big return. Someone who was once with them and left is now returning. What that means, I don't know, but
Pac is definitely a candidate.
That's the name that people are throwing around, and it seems like if he was going to return, that's a place he probably would work. So
I guess he's following the Joe Lanza 5-point plan, hitting up Dragon Gate first.
And then last couple bits of news, we got Ring of Honor related news. So final details for Final Battle 2018 have now come out.
Yeah, so Final Battle 2018 will be held at the Hammerstein Ballroom in New York City on Friday, December 14th. Third straight year at the Hammerstein Ballroom. So tickets will go on sale to Honor Club members at 10 a.m. Eastern Time this coming up Wednesday, September 12th. And they'll be made available to the general public at 10 a.m. on Friday, September 14th. So Final Battle, that's Ring of Honor's almost kind of like their WrestleMania. It's usually their WrestleMania. I know the MSG show is kind of coming up, but Final Battle is usually their kind of big show of the year where big angles are blown off. So, yeah.
And then the last bit of news to close out the show, we just had breaking news. Honor Club is going to be airing live as well as on video on demand CMLL's 85th anniversary show this coming Friday.
Yeah, so this is, CMLL's biggest show of the year, and it'll be live streamed and on demand for all Honor Club members this Friday. Ring of Honor star Matt Taven's going to be competing in a hair match.
That makes sense.
In a tag main event. So the broadcast begins at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time. The action will be called in Spanish by CMLL's commentary team. So, yeah.
So that's going to do it for the news.
Yeah, so that's going to wrap things up. I want to thank you guys again for listening to another week of Keeping It Strong Style. Make sure you connect with us on social media. On Twitter, I'm at Jeremy L. Donovan. The show is at KI Strong Style. You can follow Social Suplex at Social Suplex. On Facebook, we are facebook.com/Social Suplex. Join us in the Wrestling Squared Circle Facebook group, facebook.com/groups/Wrestling Squared Circle. On Reddit, I am the Pro Black Guy. Josh is Keeping It Strong Style. Also email me, jeremy@socialsuplex.com, if you have any questions or if you want to write for Social Suplex or be a part of Social Suplex in any way. You can also check out all the other shows on the Social Suplex Podcast Network. One Nation Radio, hosted by Rich Latta and James Boyd. The Ricky and Clive Wrestling Show from Scotland. The Outsider's Edge, featuring Rance, Carl, and Kyle. And our podcast dedicated to independent wrestling. Grown Men Watch This Shit, hosted by James Vanderbeek and Chris Bryant. And don't forget to subscribe to the Social Suplex Podcast Network. Leave a rating and review. Help us get over. So until next time, goodbye and good night. Bang.
Thank you for listening to Keepin' It Strong Style. We'll see you next time.